All right. Hope everyone is doing okay tonight. No, I logged on right before 7 p.m. But welcome to the start of a brand new series of live streams. You know, my Monday night live stream, where I've basically been live streaming the Fruit Grisaya for 40 weeks and counting, has been wildly successful, critically acclaimed. At least I like it. And I figured I would do the same by adding another stream day on Twitch. Now, as it works out, Meth asked me to live stream on Wednesday. And I did. So, with that said, gonna do this for Thursdays now. Visual Thursdays for visual novels on Twitch. And we're gonna start our inaugural live stream. In our first Visual Thursdays live stream. Because I can't speak, and that's why I'm drinking iced tea. Unsweetened with Narcissu. Now, Narcissu is a visual novel. That's pretty good from what I remember. But it's been so long since I played it, I don't remember it. So, let's get started with Narcissu. And yes, there is sound in the game, guys. So, Narcissu the first. I also don't know how loud the sound is going to be. Oh, shoot. She was not a healthy child? Alright. But even so, I went to grade school normally. During summer vacation, I played until I was tanned very dark. June, soon after entering middle school. Give me a second. I like how immediately they're like, "Oh, you get something in your inventory." I'm like, "Yo, bro." Properties. That is not what I want. Properties. Hide the cursor. Let's do this. Yeah, that's a thing I could do. Just never did it. Anyway. Yeah, you guys can see it now. June, soon after entering middle school. The day after we ordered swimsuits for the swimming class that would start next month. That time was the first time I experienced being admitted into a hospital. Just a little before the first semester's midterms. The day where the rain that started to fall felt awfully cold. In the midst of that pure white sky of the rainy season. In the beginning, everyone in the class came to visit me each day. When I was discharged from the hospital during the weekends, they would come to my house to play. That was just the beginning. Fall came, winter left. Hospitalized, discharged, outpatient care, then starting again with hospitalization. Classmates who once were called friends. At some point became acquaintances, and then turned to strangers. With each turning of the seasons, it seemed that I was disappearing from their memories. Switch logic. Well, we started playing Narcissu, okay? And I'm actually starting to remember that this might not be a happy story. Ooh. Get ready for feels. Oh, poor girl, man. So we're getting a monologue from the female who has basically spent her time in the hospital since first year of middle school, I guess. It was there. Oh. Stage Nana, Volume 24. Cicadas. Early summer 2004, Protagonist. 8 years later, 2004. Oh yeah, okay. Summer, flowing sweat. In the driver's license examination area, there was a large electronic bulletin board installed. All at once, the lights came on. Like everyone else there, I searched for my own number. 237. 237. Scanning among the most lit light panel, I found my own examination number. Insert train sound effects. Because it was just past midday, the train car was quite empty. In that empty car, I was on the way home from the examination center. In my left hand was the traffic regulations manual I had just received. My shirt pocket was the brand new license. With this, I'm also normally licensed, eh? I remembered somewhat seriously, but didn't feel any particular strong emotion. It's not like I wanted to drive cars, nor did I really have another purpose in mind. It was just, people around me were going to the training center and they recommended that I at least get a driver's license. That night, when I reported to my parents that I had gotten my license, "Oh, sure," was the short reply. As an experiment, I tried asking to borrow the car, and just as shortly, came a "you can't." It wasn't like I had wanted to drive the car. The responses were exactly as I had imagined, with those sorts of parents. The next day, upon waking up, my chest hurts, and so I was taken to the hospital. Normally, I had little to do with sickness. That was why waiting in the initial waiting room felt extremely boring. Finally, just when I thought the examination was over, this time I went to take x-rays and blood tests. I was made to go. On top of that, for a long, long time, I was made to wait in boredom. Without noticing, I finished reading 3 books of jump manga in the waiting room and was reaching a 4/4. And just like that, I was made to do the paperwork for being admitted into the hospital. Brand new driver's license that still lay in my shirt pocket. It looked like the time for its debut was far off. Protagonist, 2004, autumn. Alright, so this is still from the protagonist's perspective now. Around when those very noisy cicadas had stopped crying. As usual, I was in the hospital. Of course, it wasn't like I was always admitted in the hospital. I would be in and out. Last month, I had my first experience with surgery. After being discharged, I commuted 5 minutes for outpatient care by scooter. And even from then on, admitted, discharged, outpatient care, gradually moving to being admitted again. I didn't know anything about PET or IRESSA, but I noticed through the coming and goings that a number of months had passed. In exchange of my decreasing appetite, the types and amounts of drugs increased. Even I could see with my own eyes that my strength was declining. My legs felt a bit thin, but that's not your imagination. The needle on the scale would tell me. And yet, I was looking at myself somehow objectively. As if watching a stranger, like looking at a single scene on television. Sudden things that happened to my body. My head couldn't keep up with them. Feeling that what was happening was real didn't arise. And so, even though it was supposed to be my own body, I could only watch myself from afar with cold eyes. Winter 2004. Winter day, around when Christmas trees were disappearing from the streets. Perhaps it was the end of the year, but I was allowed to return home. In the end, it seemed to be only temporary, but even then I was a bit happy. In a mix of rain and sleet, I returned home for the first time in a while. For some reason, everyone in the family was gathered. Even though my parents normally didn't speak much, while being a bit stiff, they smiled at me. The little sister I always argued with made my favorite cream stew and fried shrimp. We sat next to each other in the kotatsu. The peeled mandarins for me, they were excessively kind. That made an impression. During this time, I had just a bit of a realization. So left in the pocket, that brand new license. That license, without giving rise to any practical value, might expire. While having stiff, unnatural smiles directed at me. Calmly, vaguely, rather simply, I thought of that, as if thinking of someone else. January 2005. The New Year's passed, and I returned again to the hospital. On that day, for some reason, I didn't go to the 4th floor, but instead to a conference room was made to go. There, with my father and a doctor, heard many things, was made to listen. What was that thing called? Notification, I guess. They had an extremely indirect way of speaking, but in the end, it seemed like I was going to die. I see. And so, I was only able to reply with that. Couldn't find other words. From when I entered until I left the room, that was all that I said. Hearing my answer, the doctor quickly wrote with the ballpoint pen in his hand. More likely, it was the paperwork for the hospice. At the very end, he was very businesslike. My father was very much the same. It was such a simple thing. That was my honest impression. And then, between that day and the next, I changed from the 4th to the 7th floor, from a 6-patient room to a single. And also, the 7th floor itself was a bit different from the other floors. Yo, how's it going, Casserole? Welcome. Playing some Narcissu. For one thing, the floors were sparkling, the ceilings were much higher, much more expensive. Inside the rooms, it was extremely clean. Large windows seemed designed to let in lots of sunlight. However, the windows only opened a tiny bit. Welcome back, Shade. Welcome back. I have started this visual novel, which I'm going to be doing Thursdays. When I tried measuring, it was just slightly smaller than would allow your head to pass through. Also, the color of the ID bracelets changed. Since the day I was admitted, a vinyl bracelet was always wrapped around my wrist. Upon it was my name and blood type. That color had changed from blue to white. High ceilings, white vinyl bracelets, windows that could only open 15 centimeters. The day I was transferred to the 7th floor, it was when the boring New Year's programs were still being broadcast. The time I met her for the first time was also at the very beginning of the year. Narcissu. Side second. Winter. The 7th floor. Oh, this is gonna be rough? Yeah. It's about children with terminal illnesses. It probably will be rough. But I remember this being good. Not sure how good, but good. Across the hall, facing the nurse's station, was a lounge-like place. Left in that unpopulated place were a number of sofas, folding chairs, and a large television. On that 28-inch CRT, a meaningless New Year's program was running. Yo, remember when 28 inches was big for televisions? 2004, man. Watching that boring television with an equally bored expression was some girl. She had a small build and wore pink pajamas. Her wrist had, just like I did, a white bracelet. Hair that went to her hips left an impression. Hey you, is that interesting? There wasn't any particular deep meaning to it, since there was no one around. Tried speaking to her profile. That was all that she replied with. Didn't even turn toward me, though I had spoken to her. Perhaps she had absolutely no interest in me. She continued to gaze at the television with a bored look. It's boring, you don't have to watch it. As I thought that, I also sat down in the folding chair. And sitting next to her, I gazed at the television. There was nothing else to do, nothing else I could do. The Smash Direct was this morning, guys. Today being November 1st. In silence, we continued to gaze at the television. Really? You're the king? You're telling somebody to go... Telling Shade to go watch the Smash Direct in the middle of my live stream? Come on. I mean, I know it's gonna be a depressing game, but still. It's a good depressing game, okay? As in, I don't know. It's good. Anyway. On the screen were the usual New Year's programs, pathetic impersonations, and parlor tricks. Occasionally ringing out the host's stupidity high-pitched laugh. In the pure white sunlit room, it dryly reverberated. Yo, I'm fresh blood, what up? Suddenly the girl spoke to me, while still gazing at the television. Which time? What does that mean? Sorry, I don't understand the meaning of the question. Oh man, that's actually depressing. I mean, people like get better and then come back here to die? Oh, that sucks. It seemed that at my inability to understand what she was saying, she had unilaterally came to that conclusion. Duty. While nodding, she added that there is a rule for someone to teach people who first come here to the 7th floor. Right now, I knew nothing about what any of this was. And as if ignoring me, the girl slowly began speaking. They were slightly different compared to the doctor's speech that I had heard up until coming here. In that business-like speech from the doctor, it said that this was a place to await the advancement of medicine. It was also called a place for healing the heart. Most likely, broadly speaking, that was probably correct. However, from what the girl said, that was a facade. This 7th floor was within the hospital, but was the only place that didn't give treatments. Simply, a place to wait for the end of life. That's what the girl said. That's what I also felt. I had the same perception. Healing the heart with death, Awu? Well, second time. What's that? And the girl taught me. This place called the 7th floor. To be here from the moment of admission all the way until dying, first of all, apparently didn't happen. Even if being cured was impossible, if your health becomes better, then they would allow you to come to go home once. But after a while, and your condition worsens, and once again you come back. Among those comings and goings, eventually you die. The place where life ran out, and only varied between home and the 7th floor. Unfailingly, one would die in either of those. It seems no one has ever escaped that. It was with that meaning that the girl had said it was her second time. Listen well, guys. Still looking at the dull screen, the girl continued speaking even more. Subject wasn't about what time the lights would be out, the normal sorts of topics exchanged between admitted patients. She taught me about totally different things. On the 3rd time you're given a temporary discharge, prepare yourself. There's never a 4th. You won't be going home anymore. If there's a time that you want to run away, go not to Station A, but towards Station B. Don't eat anything. That is the shortest path. It will end with the least burden to your family. It was all full of these sorts of topics that would make one pause. Most likely, it was only the people who came to this place. Only among those who's moving towards death, These were the things that they continued passing down. Was the duty you mentioned this?
ええ、そうよ。いつかあなたも初めて来た人には伝えてね。
With those final words, the girl slowly stood up. Gently, her long hair swayed and brushed the tip of my nose.
じゃあ、検温の時間だから。
And then, just like that, and with her back facing me, she began walking towards the hall. I was left alone in that place, with the laughing voice from the screen, and the white flowers decorating the window. In the end, the girl never once looked in my direction. From then, after a few days had passed. Finally, the New Year's programs ended, so the middle and high school third terms would be starting. Today in the lounge, once again, the figures of the girl and I were staring at the television. It's boring, isn't it?
そうね。
The word came back in reply, but both of us were conversing while continuing to gaze at the screen. Hey, is this place always like this?
質問の意味がわからない。
Ah, I meant how there's no one around. Nurses, doctors, the helpers. If you take them out, then aside from our attendants, I had never seen anyone else. I guess it's because it's New Year's?
その理由を知りたいの？
No. It's not like I meant that.
じゃあ言わない。
Exchange that wasn't even a conversation. We indifferently passed back and forth. Slight breeze from the windows that couldn't open more than 15 centimeters. Occasionally, it would sway the girl's hair, in the same way it would sway the white flowers decorating around the windows. Two of us, while watching the boring television, were only spending days passing time. Well, there's the sound effect for that. Oh, the two of you were in a place like this. Saying that while rushing up was an elderly nurse. From just glancing at the nurse's station once in a while, this person seemed to be the chief of the 7th floor. So, Setsumi-san, you don't have a fever?
大丈夫。出てない。
Setsumi. Apparently this was the girl's name. Can't go roaming about outside anymore, okay? Alright, everyone gets worried.
別にいいよ。
My, what kind of statement is that? Really? Really, this nurse, man. Girls these days. Ugh, there's just no helping them. And for a while more, the nurse continued nattering on. To that, she, the girl called Setsumi, let it go by with an indifferent expression. As if ignoring the slightly noisy nurse, she continued watching the boring screen in front of her. Okay, done. Later, I'll come to test your blood, okay? Those final words, once again, the nurse returned back to the nurse's station. Hey, you... I can call you Setsumi, right? Wrapped around the girl's wrist was a white vinyl bracelet. I'll look at the blood type and name there, I asked. Is something wrong, Setsumi?
どうして呼び捨てなの？
What?
年下のくせに。
Hey, why am I the younger one?
別に。そう思っただけ。
Wasn't that I was upset at the word younger. It was just, no matter how you looked at it, one would believe I was 6 years older. That was why I took out that license that was in my chest pocket and showed it to her. How about it? Even though I look like this, I'm 20, you know? It's weird that the window is cropped? Well, that happens. Crazy Hand commands all master hands, probably. I
や
don't
っ
know.
ぱり年下よ。
With just a glance at the license, the girl gave me only that reply. Hey, I don't really get it.
どうでもいいじゃない。少し上なだけよ。
As always, she spoke softly and with no expression. Those eyes, while always looking at the dull television, also felt like they were looking at some place far away. Oh, at some place far away. Okay, that extra A was unneeded. Around when the morning temperature taking ended, I got onto the elevator, trying not to be seen by the nurses. Coming to the first floor, deliberately passing through the entrance for outpatients, just kept walking out of the hospital. The destination was the place I was taught before, not the nearby Station A, but the far Station B. It wasn't like I was planning on running away. 7th floor or home. There was no one who died outside of those two. That was what I had heard before. Also, it seemed that the girl called Setsumi had gone many times to Station B. That was why, for no real reason, I simply felt like wanting to go see that place once. It's not like there are any guards around. Even so, us residents of the 7th floor were different from other admitted patients. I also think about the just maybe I continued walking on the street to the early morning station area. Glancing at the hurrying commuters and people going to school, slowly moved on at a measured pace. Well, I can't talk. After walking a bit, taking about 25 minutes, I finally arrived before the station. In terms of bus stops, it was about 4's distance. There's a fair bit of people around. That was the first impression upon seeing Station B. Because my clothes were pajamas, I stood out somewhat. However, if it's just like that, I bought a train ticket. Without a single problem, I felt I could go anywhere. Why was it not Station A but this Station B that was recommended? I didn't know. However, if one were planning to run away, I thought it was a simple thing. The girl was also supposed to have come many times, but why was it that she still remained in the 7th floor even now, I wonder? Early morning before the station. While watching the people hurrying by, suddenly that thought occurred to me. That night, after the lights had been turned off, holding onto a book of manga, unable to sleep, I wandered around the ward alone. Normally, wandering around after lights out would get one scolded badly, but as residents of the 7th floor were given a relative amount of freedom. And with the lights off, the usual lounge was pitch dark. There, I saw her figure. Hey, today you're looking outside? In the dark room, there was a response. The face remained looking beyond the window. Immediately, I started talking about what happened during the day. That reminds me, this morning, I went all the way to the station. Just like you told me, I went to see Station B.
So?
But the girl's response was no different from the usual. Because she was supposed to have gone before, I thought that there might be some kind of reaction, but thinking about that, as well as how the girl still remained here, did it mean that she really had no intention of running away?
私、もうすぐ帰れるの。
Eh? Suddenly the girl opened her mouth. Words as if she had seen clear through to my heart just now.
でも、次で3回目だから、もう会えないかもね。
That's right. Most likely, when she had said that she would be able to go home, she was talking about a temporary discharge. In this place called the 7th floor. She admitted more than 3 times, and apparently never happened. Especially unlike the elderly, considering the rate of progression of disease was even more so for younger patients like us. With that kind of meaning came the words, "We won't meet again."
ねえ、あなたはどちらを選ぶの？
Choose what?
どっちで死ぬつもりってこと？
Suddenly hearing the word death, my words caught for just a moment. Don't know. Still haven't thought about it.
そう。まだ1回目だもんね。
Girl spoke in a lonely murmur. Of course, even I knew I couldn't be here forever. Like everyone else, going in and out of the hospital, slowly weakening until someday. In the end, either the 7th floor or surrounded by thin smiles. Probably come to a choice between those two.
私は家は嫌
House sucks. Oh, that sucks.
だけどここも嫌
Then what will you do? Run away?
別にどうもしない
So was she in a car accident? No. It is implied that she has some sort of terminal illness that modern, as of 2004, treatments can't save her from. So she's been in and out of the hospital since her first year in middle school, so probably right around when she was like 12 or 13. And assuming she didn't lie about her age, that means she's been here for like 8 years. So basically, terminal illness for 8 years.
自力で歩けるうちにどこかに行くだけ
Somewhere, you. Even though it was obvious that if one wanted to run away, one could, this girl still remained on the 7th floor. When I thought about that, do you have some other place to go to?
あなた私を引き止めたいの
Eh?
それとも一緒についてきたいの
Because remember, the 7th floor is for patients who are basically going to die, is what they implied. It's basically what Setsumi told her to his girl. No, I didn't mean it like that.
じゃあ聞かないで
So, like, a car accident wouldn't be like... A car accident, you'll die from really quickly. Or you'll survive and then you'll live. Because that's just physical treatments. But, like, having a disease... A life-threatening disease or illness... That's gonna kill you. That's kind of like a bigger thing. Because, well... You know... as they described, your body grows weaker as time passes. And, you know, there's no real treatments for you to get better. So you just get weaker and weaker. And eventually, you get to that point. Remember, they say a candle flickers or burns brightest right before it goes out. But people aren't candles. You know, they don't die in blazes of glory unless they choose to. And they can. A person with a terminal illness may, you know, they go like a person, they go like, you know, like draining a sink or something. It just slowly empties and then it's gone. So... That's, I think, what they're trying to convey. And it's depressing. I'm sorry if it's depressing, but you know, like I said, this is short and it's well written, so kind of want to experience it. I also read this like I think back in high school too, 2004, 2005. Yeah. Maybe I read it like a little bit after. Anyway, while gazing out the window, the girl spoke indifferently. As always, it had been a conversation where she did not even look in my direction. However, just that time, her usual expressionless profile seemed sad. Taught that the 3rd temporary discharge would be the last, come to the 7th floor for the first time. And then a girl who would soon face her 2nd time. For me, I still couldn't really feel the things that were happening as reality, but someday would I also come to make such a face. From before dawn, rain fell. Occasionally also changing to either sleet or snow, it lightly continued coming down. Within that, I was in the usual place watching the television. As always, the 7th floor was devoid of people.
面白い
Nope, boring. The girl came from the other side. Changing only those words, she quietly sat in the folding chair next to me. And then today also, the two of us began gazing at the television. Surely, the girl was also the same. There was nothing else to do, nothing else she could do. Surprisingly, she responded to something on the television. Something the matter?
別に。
The words were the same, not particularly, but it was a response that was different from usual for her. Becoming interested, I turned my eyes to the screen. What was on the screen was some kind of nature scene. On a beautiful hill, trees and flowers merged into a landscape. And focused on the screen were a great many white flowers. There were flowers I remembered seeing before. They resembled the white flowers even now decorating the room by the windows. Are those the same flower? Look, aren't they exactly like these? While speaking, I pointed first at the screen, then towards the window.
違う。
Oh, really?
種類は同じだけど、厳密に言えば違う。
Giving the flowers by the window just a glance, she once again returned to gazing at the television while answering. Honestly, even if she denied that they were the same, to me, I didn't know the difference between the two. Besides, for me, whether the flowers were the same or different, it didn't really matter. Instead of that, the girl normally would never participate in conversation. That girl surprisingly continued speaking. That was why I also tried to maintain the conversation. Are you, maybe, knowledgeable about this sort of thing?
別に。
Really, but I can't tell the difference at all. The white flowers blooming beyond the screen, the flowers in the vases beyond the girl's profile. While vaguely looking at the both of them, I continued further with my words. So, these are orchids or lilies? Look, they've got a whitish color, right? Even though I had no interest, I just kept saying things that came to mind. However, the girl soon became like usual and fell silent. With her usual expression, she only gazed at the boring screen. When I had given up on the possibility that she would take up the conversation, once again began to move my eyes back to the television.
ナルキッソス。
Eh?
ナルキッソスよ。
While answering. For the first time, she faced me. Swaying her long waist-length hair, while pointing at the flowers shown on the television, she looked at me. Just like the flowers displayed on the screen, there was a white vinyl bracelet wrapped around the wrist with white skin. First time that I saw that face, I thought I saw the briefest of smiles. Yo, welcome to was that the prologue? Was that the prologue? I don't know, was it?
眩しかった日のこと。
Okay, yeah, that was.
そんな冬の日のこと。確かに。寒いとか丈夫な方じゃなかった。
Turn to title. No. Okay.
冬
No.
7回。
Okay, so we're up to chapter 2. Might be stupid. I saw prologue on chapter 1. I was like, did we go through those? Yeah, literally, that's what we went through. Wow. Chapter 2, Silver Coat. Silver Coop? Coop? Anyway. A few days passed and the winter became even more serious. Out in the world, it was in the middle of what it was called examination season. As always, the two of us were watching the television today. It's boring, isn't it?
そうね。
An exchange that couldn't even be called a conversation. There were days where the two of us only passed the time meaninglessly. Speaking of which, for you, when was it?
今日よ。
I see, it's today, eh? Here, the today that we spoke about was what she had told me before. Her temporary discharge.
もう会えないかもね。
That's right. Even if she were to once again return to the 7th floor, just once more was probably the limit. At that time, surely I would also be coming and going between home and this place. For the two of us to meet again, it wasn't likely the timing would work out.
あなた決まった？
That which you want to die at thing? No, not yet.
そう。
She nodded in a slightly lonely way. The expression was probably because she was someone going on their second temporary discharge. Meanwhile, I had yet to realize things. I had not been given my first temporary discharge from the doctors. That reminds me. In the end, did she decide on her own answer for herself? Setsumi, their arrangements are done. Coming here and speaking with some older lady. Most likely it was the girl's mother. To me, since I was sitting nearby, the mother bowed her head slightly. Well, it's about time we'll be going. Are you ready? Well then, excuse us. That mother had a very strange voice. Once again, giving me a small bow, the lady made to leave the place. And then she stretched out her hand to the girl that was daughter. You are daughter. The girl that was her daughter. The girl didn't make to leave the place. Even when her mother tugged on her hand for some reason, she didn't make to stand from the folding chair. What's wrong, Setsumi?
少し苦しい。
I don't want to leave. It hurts! Where? Your chest? Stomach?
胸。
Wait here. I'll go call the doctor now. In a rush, the slapping sound of guest slippers rang out, and the lady ran toward the nurse's station. Left in that place was a girl still hunched over in the folding chair and me. Her condition or its progression, I knew absolutely nothing about. Things that I knew were, her name was Setsumi, blood type O, only the things that were on the white bracelet. However, we were residents of the 7th floor, and at the least, she was worse than me. Say, until the doctor comes, want to lie down there? As I spoke, I pointed to the couch, something that was placed in a corner of the room from before. Look, I'll support your back.
別にもう平気よ。
Just at reply, she quickly stood up on her own. Hey, you. Don't strain yourself. Faster than I could finish, quickly, she walked out into the hall. Night after the lights were put out. As always, holding a book of manga, unable to sleep, I wandered around the hospital. And then, with the lights off, there was the pitch-dark lounge. There, I found her figure. Yo, you're here again? What's wrong? Feeling bad again?
別に
While looking out the window, that was all the girl replied. In the end, it seemed that the girl's temporary discharge had been postponed. With that, while I didn't know when the next opportunity would be, most likely the postponement was not in a few days but weeks. Say, I'm just wondering. But today, you're faking being sick? Well, the term faking sickness itself might have been a bit strange. After all, we couldn't really be said to be in a normal condition. The point being, you didn't want to go on temporary leave.
意味がわからないわよ。
Well, you won't have any more after, right? To that question, she remained silent and gave no reply. From before, she had repeatedly asked me which place I planned to die in. And to do that, I had not yet decided, while the girl had said she didn't like the home or the 7th floor. You really don't have another place to go, do you?
だったらどうなのよ。
That's why you go all the way to the station and don't go anywhere, right? No, nothing. In the usual lounge, now pitch dark. As always, without even looking my way, the girl sat looking out the window. Even though it was still 11 o'clock, in this place called a hospital, most of the lights were already out. This place was where ordinary and extraordinary days met. Moreover, we were residents of the 7th floor. Already, we could choose nothing outside of the 7th floor and home. From that dark 7th floor window, the girl continued looking out at the outside world, the ordinary world. Still, the buildings and houses shone brightly with light. The roads home were filled with the figures of people hurrying home. I myself had only barely realized the situation, but already I was a resident of the 7th floor, person of the extraordinary world. Probably, I was already unable to return to the other world. For me whose time has stopped. Numerous seasons, white overcast skies, passed without even the need to exchange words with anyone. In the beginning, from the window, I watched the lively children go to school, people walking quickly. When I tired of that, I always watched the television. There was nothing else to do, nothing else I could do. Even if outside the window it was snowing, the screen had the sun. Without cold, heat, or pain, a dream world spread before my eyes. I sought peace in imaginations. I only greatly increased my knowledge, simply accumulating more and more meaningless trivia. At some point, the things shown on the television lost their sense of reality. Next was in books, and games, and then family. Finally, even my own body, as if watching some stranger, I lost the ability to understand it as real. That was why, when I came to the 7th floor, I wasn't surprised. If I closed my eyes, always, the world would disappear. That's why I thought I was fine with it, made myself think I was fine. And soon I would be discharged a second time. The next time I come here, I might not be able to walk on my own. Even though I knew that, I felt my unresisting self to be wretched. I felt myself, who didn't even have a destination, to be ridiculous.
時間を止め、心を止め、胸に大きな傷跡を作り、それでも22年も生きてきたのに哀れだと思った。
January 19th. After a few days more, cloudy days ended yesterday and the high winter sky spread wide. Surprisingly, my father came to visit. In the beginning, he had a pained look on his face. However, he said something about my insurance. At that time, his eyes weren't sad. Well, I have to talk a bit with the doctor. Saying that, my father went down the hall. He seemed to be heading to that place from before, the gloomy conference room. Once again, I was alone in the hospital room. With nothing to do, I stretched my hands out to the weekly magazines bought for me from the store. They were there all along with the fruits and juice that he always brought when visiting. Next to the basket with fruit inside. Just in front of the melons that I hated. What came into view were car keys. Car keys, you say? Shining silver keys. It was the coupe my father was so proud of. The interior he apparently had modified. Before I had asked on a whim to borrow it, and it had quickly been turned down. Keys to that car. In my pajamas chest pocket, that driver's license. Even though it had lost its debut that day, I had continued to carry the license. It was proof of my once ordinary days. Clack. Without a word, I grasped the keys. As I went and did it. Even I didn't know the exact reason why. Simply, I just did that. It was like watching a single scene on television somewhere. Then, taking the few days' worth of medicine that I had been given, I just placed them in a bag from a convenience store. I headed down the hall. Slipping by the nurse's station, I quickly continued to walk towards the elevator. Plastic bag in my right hand, the car keys in my left. My chest pocket, the license that was supposed to have lost its debut lay hidden. In front of the lounge, The next thing that came to sight was the figure of the girl, as always, watching the television. Sitting in a cheap folding chair. Today, she was also boredly looking at the screen. Hey you, is that interesting?
そう見える。
Nope, not at all. The usual exchange. Her eyes were, as usual, seemingly looking far away. Well then, shall we go together? Setsumi. Eh? While showing her the car key in my hand, continued speaking. I also don't want home. Setsumi. Dots. Setsumi. I also don't want the 7th floor. So, shall we go together? Setsumi. With that word, the girl stood up from the folding chair. Lightly, her long hair swayed and brushed the tip of my nose. And so the girl also packed a few days' worth of medicine into a plastic bag. Then the two of us placed the 7th floor behind us. Turned off the boring television. The shrilly laughing voice of the host was silenced. Screw you, host! Always on daytime television all the time at the same time. Anyway, two of us in pajamas got on the elevator and descended from the highest floor to the first. When we came to the first floor, instead of the entrance for emergencies, normal admittance and discharges, we deliberately left from the outpatient entrance and headed to the parking lot. Phew. The moment we left the building, a cold wind blast struck us in the face. In the parking lot, with a few obstructions, the wind felt even stronger. Together, while we carefully peered around searching, walked around the parking lot. Dude, it was probably like a daytime variety show. Was not Fox News. This is Japan. Come on. Then, after searching a while, we finally found my father's car. It was a nice M car, a silver coupe. Car Dad was so proud of that he even fussed over the interior. Quickly, I inserted the key and opened the door. Click. Here, you can get in. Setsumi. Alright. Slam. So I guess I'm voicing Setsumi as well now, guys. Well, that happened. Sank myself into the deep driver's seat. For the girl in the passenger seat, because of her size, even if she sat normally, it was difficult for her to see the front. Next, I put the key in my hand into the ignition. As I turned it, I stepped on the accelerator. It was all exactly like what the training center had taught. Vroom vroom! In the moments, the sound of the engine reverberated in the interior. After that, just having to release the parking brake and let go of the clutch. With this, we can go anywhere. Should be able to go anywhere. Well, here we go. Setsumi. The girl gave a small nod. Instead of responding, I shifted into second gear. And quietly, the car set off. As the chassis rattled from the unfamiliar clutch, slowly it went on. It's shaky, isn't it? Yeah, it's the first time in this car after all. And while we're on the subject, it's the first time driving since getting my license. I see. Eventually appeared before us, the hospital parking lot exit. Just beyond it was a large road. Pulled the car out into the lightless intersection. From behind came the sound of car horns blaring at us as we suddenly pulled into the lane. The unfamiliar clutch ground when the gears shifted, while the silver coupe ran into fits and starts. Perhaps the car just behind us was especially angry. It didn't seem to stop honking for a while. Even so, without paying them any particular mind, I drove. The feeling of reality was somehow thin. Hey you. Setsumi. What? Are you afraid? Setsumi. Being afraid would be better? No, not really. Still morning, the sun was high. Looking beyond the windshield, the January winter sky was painted so blue, it somehow felt sorrowful. It wasn't like we had a destination. That day, under the winter sky, the car swayed with the unfamiliar clutch. That day, in our pajamas, the two of us aimed for the national road. That winter day. Ibaraki Mito Highway. Around when that so very high sun was turning orange. We continued to drive. Simply, at random, the car continued running. And then when the area turned into an unfamiliar place, I'm stopping for a bit. Setsumi. Finally, I brought the car to a stop. Outside of the city area, by the roadside somewhere, a lonely place that didn't seem to have much traffic. Stopping the car in a place I didn't even know the name of. For now, I started inspecting the interior. There were things that would even be the slightest bit useful. We had rushed out without any preparation, but I could see that we would be in trouble very soon. Oh no, Ibaraki, hide. That's Fate Go. This is Narcissu. This is Ibaraki, as in the place. While thinking about that first, I searched the dashboard in front of me. There really isn't much in there, is there? Just a few hundred yen worth of what appeared to be change from the expressways. The rest were just a few books, a manga, and disposable camera. It wasn't like we had a destination, but it seemed that even the navigation system installed in the car was broken. Also, the amount of money I had was about 8,000 yen. While leaving, I had hardly stuffed that much into my pocket. It's still called Ibaraki. The real villain of Smash is Sakurai in a Thanos cosplay, maybe. With that and adding in the change in front of me, could barely make 9,000 yen. Of course, it wasn't like I had been expecting to find anything in the car from the start. But with this budget, we'd probably be in trouble really soon. I could definitely believe we wouldn't find decent lodging. Even so, I doubt that the girl had any money. Setsumi. Is something wrong? No, it's nothing. Oh well, didn't matter. Should have known this from the start. To begin with, it wasn't like we had thought up arrangements or plans before acting. Instead of that, right now, I wanted to move. I didn't want to sit still. Under the now darkening sky, once again, the silver coupe ran. By the way, are you hungry? As I drove, I spoke to the one sitting next to me. Think about it, we hadn't eaten since this morning. That is perfectly balanced. For now, let's go to a convenience store. Setsumi. Yeah, no. Hey, don't be so picky. Compared to the 7th floor's food, it absolutely has to be better. Setsumi. At my words, the girl returned silence. Those downcast eyes, their lines of sight was on the pink pajamas that she wore. Ah, now that you say... That's right. As I spoke, I looked down at my own clothes. It wasn't like there was no problem inside the car either. For now, we had to do something about these clothes. Making that decision, I turned the wheel from the main road and headed into town. After running a while, the place that we came to was some street I didn't know the name of. Surely it must be near some station since it was a street where about that number of people could be seen. A place like this, you'd think there'd be one. While glancing around the area searching, I moved the car on, slightly raising my body in the seat while driving. Decent song, I'd say. Light Life. Ah, found it. In a short while, I spotted a coin-operated laundromat. It appeared quite run down and was in the first floor of a small apartment building. This place might be just perfect. A short distance away from the entrance, I parked the car. Alright, just wait a bit. Setsumi. Slam. Even the girl who was making a puzzled face, I headed to the coin-op laundromat on foot. Just past the automatic doors, my nose picked up the scent of bleach and detergent. Inside it was just as run down as the exterior, filled with old washing machines and dryers. There's no one around. I muttered that in the empty shop. Rumble! There, raising a low sound while spinning, was a single unit in use. Quickly approaching that machine, I started to check the timer. It looked like 200 yen had been inserted and it was set for 30 minutes. Also been going for only 5. Most likely, until it was about done, the person was passing time somewhere. Coming to that conclusion, once again from the entrance, I looked around for someone that seemed like that sort of person. Then, making sure that no one was in sight, I placed my hands on the revolving dryer's door. And suddenly opened it. Opened in the middle of a drying cycle, the machine was forced into a stop temporarily. Ignoring the blast of heat and moist air, took out a mass of half-dry clothing from inside. And carrying it just like that in both hands, I looked around once more before I put the shop behind me. Click, slam. Setsumi. Ah. Seeing both my hands filled with laundry, the girl raised a bit of a surprised voice. However, paying no heed to that, I threw them into the back seat. Well, we're going. Setsumi. And we have so far stolen some clothing. One hand on the wheel, I eyed the pile of laundry I had thrown in the back. At a glance, there it was, all flashy looking jeans and sweatshirts. All the sizes seemed to be on the large side. They were still wet, but inside the car with the heat from the vents, they probably would be dry soon. Later, change into whatever you want. Setsumi. Dots. Ellipses. There was no particular reply to those words either. She simply eyed the pile of laundry. Well, what else could we do? Setsumi. I know. Even for me, it wasn't like I did this because I liked it. Plus, while the money we had wasn't being held for any particular purpose, with what we had immediately on hand, buying new clothes would have been a tight situation. When the face of the moon really came out and we had driven for a while, I stopped the car near some park somewhere. It was most likely some kind of children's park tucked in the middle of a residential neighborhood. In fact, I saw Yuji and Sachi playing there. Wait, what? In the middle of that, I began to search through the clothes stolen earlier. Most likely because of the heating in the car, the laundry was totally dry. So it really is all guy stuff. Exactly as when I glanced at them, it was all gaudy jeans and sweats. Most likely it was someone about my age, and size-wise something close. And then, while still sitting in the driver's seat, grabbed a pair of suitable jeans and sweatshirt and started to change. Hey, you should change into something too. Setsumi. Setsumi. They're all too big. Then you're going to always be in pajamas? Setsumi. Wakatta. So, some sort of reply that I don't know what kind of reply. The girl took hold of a pair of jeans and opened the door. Hey, where are you going? Setsumi. To change. With just that answer, she began walking toward the restroom that could be seen in the park just ahead. Click. Hey, there. That was quick. The moment the girl returned, the pink pajamas she had been wearing up until now was in her hand. She had changed into jeans and a white sweatshirt. Well, it's good that you managed to put something on. Setsumi. Ellipses. There was no reply. It was something I saw coming. Size was too much and draped rather heavily on her. So the jeans were too long. The legs were rolled up a number of times. Meanwhile, the top sweatshirt was folded over in the same way. The pajamas were better. Well, don't say that. It's a bit warmer this way. Setsumi. The secret ending as you always get running over. Oh, please, no. At my words, she gave me just the slightest dissatisfied look. I guess something more feminine would have been better. Not particularly. Her usual response. Even though I had thought she was dissatisfied with the poofy sweatshirt, soon she returned to being expressionless. Sha is the sound of rain. Did you guys know that? I do now. Suddenly it started raining. As if it had forgotten how to stop, rain spilled from the cold January sky. Looking from inside the car, countless raindrops on the windshield. One by one, they would grow too big to stick. A number would gather, overflow, and turn into a rivulet. Then while flowing down, they would involve other rivulets and flow even more. The two of us just sat gazing at that rain from inside the car. Some parking lot somewhere, lonely place in the mountains. Having finished shopping at a convenience store, we were spending the night. On the menu for each of us was 2 rice balls, 500 milliliter curry, and half an order of fries. It's been a while since having this stuff, right? Setsumi. With one hand holding the convenience store rice ball, the girl murmured. Think about it normally. It wasn't all that splendid. Compared to the food on the 7th floor, it was good enough. And then when both of us reached out toward the fries, suddenly the girl's hand stopped. Something wrong? Setsumi. Betsuni? While answering, her line of sight turned toward the whitely fogged windshield. There by the roadside, a number of white flowers could be seen. White flowers soaked by the rain. I didn't know whether they were planted by someone or were there naturally, but those flowers seemed familiar. Those were Narcissus? Setsumi. Narcissus. Daffodils. Ah, those were daffodils. I didn't know too much about plants and all. Daffodils, I had at least heard the name before. And I also recalled that even though the girl would normally speak only rarely, she would uncharacteristically join in conversations on this topic. That's why I went along and continued to speak. And I guess those are also different from those too? Setsumi. Strictly speaking, they're different. They're quite rare, these things then, aren't they? Setsumi. Not particularly. They're everywhere. Everywhere? Like where? Setsumi. For me, it wasn't like I put very much meaning in the statement. It was intended simply from the flow of conversation as a natural question. And yet she thought for a moment, then slowly opened her mouth. Setsumi. Katawa? Actually, yeah. Katawa Shoujo would be fun to play, so. West. Awajishima is famous. Hey wait, Awajishima, you mean? Just how far away do you think that is from here? For someone who had only just started driving like me, I couldn't even make a guess. Most likely it was easily around 700 kilometers. Even using expressways, I couldn't even begin to estimate the time it would take. First, considering our funds, it certainly didn't seem enough. Even if we stayed off the expressways and used the smaller roads, the cost of gasoline itself seemed ominous. Look, don't say unreasonable things now. There's no way we could go to such a place, right? Setsumi. Who said anything about wanting to go? Eh? I was asked, so I simply answered. Just that answer, the girl once again gazed beyond the windshield at those flowers. The glass inside the car, cold from rain, was fogged white. She cast her gaze beyond even that. It's not like I wanted to go there either. However, also not like we had another place to go. Chapter 3, Maps. Guys, ready for some maps? Oh, Setsumi's talking again. Only increasing my knowledge, simply increasing the number of meaningless values, simply desiring only information from the television screen. Eventually, reality grew faded, turned hollow. Maps are cool. Cars and trains, things that would take me places, I like them. Spreading maps upon the narrow bed. Connecting route after route. Connecting. Sedans, coupes, convertibles. I also rode on many different kinds of cars. That ever-continuing Route 1. I ran all the way to the distant end of it. Indigo blue sky, beautiful shoreline. I ran all the way to the places painted in my dreams. Gently going around the curve traced by a cape, under the burning sunlight, dashing on a brilliant white beach. If I just close my eyes, I can go anywhere. Scenery that I never had seen before would float before me as I thought about lands that I would never be able to go.
虚しく憧れだけを募らせた。
Oh. Sky where the rain had let up. January 21st. Flowing by at an amazing speed, high clouds. From the ground, the still damp asphalt gave a distinctive sha noise. Within all that, as always, we continued driving on. Without a destination, simply just driving on. It wasn't like we were headed to the Awajishima that we had spoke about last night. For one thing, as a problem from before that, probably didn't have the gasoline money. While pondering about that, I continued driving straight along the unknown road. But where was this, I wonder? Suddenly I wound up thinking about it. I wasn't all that good with geography to begin with, but all the place names were ones I had never seen before. I had been driving fairly carefully, with the navigation system dead, I knew even less. Before I knew it, I was peering at the signs in the area while I drove. I don't really know.
何？
No, just wondering where this is. The girl spoke to me when I looked around and I gave a simple reply. Well, most likely, even if I asked her, she wouldn't have known.
入間よ。埼玉県の。
Hey! Eh?
次の交差点を右に行けば16号線。八王子へ出るわ。
You know? Did you live here before?
別にそんなんじゃないわよ。
That was a surprise. No, instead of surprising, why she knew so much was mysterious. No matter how you looked, she didn't seem the type to get in a car and go around. Then maybe, from here to that place, Awajishima, you know the way?
質問の意味がわからない。
Well, you see, without getting on the expressway, you might be able to get there using only the smaller roads, right? Look, the gasoline costs. Our money might be enough after all.
あなた行きたいの？
Eh? No, it's not like I meant that, but...
じゃあ聞かないで。
With those final words, the girl once again fell silent. In her usual cold way, she remained staring out the window. I had the feeling that what those eyes were looking at was not the scenery flowing by before her, but a much further place. Those words from before, don't ask. So what did they mean, I wonder? It means to ask! If I had answered that, I had planned on going, what would she have answered? Without a destination, we simply traveled. From the start, we hadn't any plans or schedules. Simply, we just hated both the 7th floor and our shallow homes. But for me, at the least just for me, it didn't matter what. I probably wanted something to give me direction. 3 days later. Splash crash! It's cold, isn't it?
そうよ。
Some beach I didn't know the name of, when I noticed we were headed out toward the sea. I had intended to head west, but it seemed at some point I wound up heading south. Phew! Beach with a pitch black sky and a strong cold wind. Two of us left the car and stood gazing at the dark sea. As always, the girl looked far away with a downcast air at where the black sky and sea merged at the horizon. And then, after watching the sea for a while, slowly she began walking to the water's edge.
ねえ、どうなると思う？
And I don't understand the meaning of your question.
楽に死ねると思う？このまま海に入っていくと。
Her back was still turned to me. Words as she continued walking to the water's edge. The third time was the last. There is no fourth. Probably it would come to picking between the 7th floor and home. It seems no one has escaped that. Those were words the girl had once passed to me. And she was on her second, and had said that she wanted neither the home nor the 7th floor. Already, this was after she had passed it to me. Already her task was over. 67 days to go. That was why I figured it meant that. Who knows? I've never drowned before.
じゃあもしも今私が海に入っていったならあなた止める？
While speaking, she turned around and looked at my face, placing the moon floating in the pitch-black sky to her back. The gaze that was always looking at some faraway place was looking straight at me. I don't know. Not until that time.
そうよね。
And then turning her back to me and once again facing the sea, she slowly took a step forward. Hey, you.
何？
Is it that you want me to stop you? At my words, the girl stopped just a few steps before the breaking waves. Strong wind misted up the spray from the waves striking her feet. If you want me to stop you, I'll stop you.
別にそんなんじゃないわよ。
Then I don't have to stop you, right? For that question, there was no reply either. Alright, Night King. However, the feet that stopped did not go further. That was why I thought that was her reply. A high, high sky that could only be found in winter. Stained, heart-wrenchingly blue, with a strong wind that whistled across the elevated rail line. Coward. Reflecting that blue sky was the metallic hood of the running silver coupe. I was gripping the steering wheel and she sat in her usual way in the passenger seat. Where this was, I didn't know, but as a more real problem in moments, we were going to run out of gasoline. We hadn't had that much money to begin with. From purchases at convenience stores, our remaining funds were even less now. Now there was only 7,000 yen. Of course, I didn't know how many liters this car took, but I thought we probably had enough to fill the tank once. It wasn't as if we had a destination or anything, but losing our legs would mean we would be stuck. I'll go get some gas.
そう。
While speaking, I turned the wheel and headed toward the gas station in front of us. Welcome. Will it be credit card or cash? With cash. Will it be regular or high octane? Regular? High octane? I didn't really understand. Of course, when it came to this car, there were lots of things I didn't know. Since I only just gotten my license, I knew very little about this sort of thing in general. Which shall it be? Hesitate to speak while the part-time clerk waited for my answer from the other side of the window. And just when I was about to say it didn't matter, the girl in the passenger seat spoke.
レギュラーよ。
Yes, regular. Yes, regular, cash, full tank. Yes, regular, cash, full tank. Will that be alright? Yes, please. Yes, certainly. The cheerful reply, the attendant began to skillfully pump the gasoline. From the window opened about 10 centimeters came the distasteful smell of gasoline. Hey, regular's fine for this? The question, the girl remained silent. Instead, she quickly pointed at the price listing on the pump. Ah, of course. This was a cheaper one. I didn't really know much about this, but I didn't think there was that much difference. And then there was the meter on the gas pump before my eyes reporting the amount used. 25, 26, 27, 28. That digital display was counting up ferociously. Did I screw up? Looking at those numbers, I began to get nervous. Just before I had wound up saying full tank on a whim, the amount of money we had on hand wasn't all that much. Putting together all the change, it was about 7,000 yen. Of course, I had no idea how large this car's tank was. If there wasn't enough money, what would happen? Going by the price list shown, I believe we had enough for about 60 liters, but 38, 39, 40, 41. But now the meter was counting up without slowing down. Under normal conditions, it would have been something I wouldn't have worried about, but as I continued watching, I grew more and more nervous. Damn it, it's still going? Before I knew it, the words tumbled out.
大丈夫よ。もう止まるわ。
え
これ50リッターだから。
Just as she said, when the meter was between 47 and 48, it stopped. Following that, the sound of a receipt being printed ran out. Once again, the part-time clerk came back. Thank you for waiting. Comes to 5,240 yen. Here. From my pocket, I took out and handed over a 5,000 yen bill, the crumpled 1,000 yen bill. Here's your change of 760 yen and your receipt. Thank you very much! Putting the clerk's bright voice behind us, once again pulled the car out onto the road before us. Once again, the silver coupe ran. With this, I felt the urgent fear of the gas tank to be gone for the moment. And now our remaining funds was just about 2,000 yen. Like 20 bucks, man, guys. I was also worried about that, but I was also curious about what happened just before. Hey, are you... Could be that you know a lot about cars? Not particularly. Didn't you just say this was a 50-liter before? Of course, this much might have just been a guess or something that was common knowledge. However, previously she had also known about the roads. Also nagged by that fact, I took out the car registration on the dashboard. You would of course know this car's name, right? Well, you can think of it as a quiz. Get it right, you get a prize! What? That's correct. And the specs? Somebody knows there are cars. I hadn't thought that she would really answer. My eyes couldn't help but follow the words on the registration in my hand as the girl flatly continued speaking. Gotta keep her here. No, that's enough. Sekai. I replied, turned the registration to its place. Unbelievably, all the specs were exactly as recorded. It was very much something that I didn't think could be memorized. If asked why someone would, I couldn't begin to imagine why. But right before my eyes, this girl answered. Moreover, considering the roads and flowers from before, I believe that she knew about a wide variety of things. Hey, why do you know so much? Yeah, guys, did you know when you magically get older? Like, she's only 22. You know what happens when you get older? Like, over 30 even? You get, like, infinite cosmoses of knowledge. It's true. Look it up. With just that answer, once again she fell silent. Gazing out the window, she didn't give off an air that she would answer any new questions I raised. Older. Really didn't look it, but those were also the girl's words from before. Name Setsumi, blood type 0. Blood type 0, whoops. Those were the words written on her white vinyl bracelet. And she seemed to be older. That was the little information I knew of her. Around when the sun was slowly setting, Silver Coupe continued running. Without a destination, without a place to need to go, simply moving forward. The issue of gasoline was fine, but the remaining money had mostly disappeared. Even counting the change, it was about 2,000 yen. Thinking in terms of buying meals at convenience stores, it would last about 3 or 4 days. Hey, what should we do from now on? I mean, we don't have much money left. And so, you... Girl was as she always had been. Spoke while bringing the rice ball just bought from the convenience store to her mouth. And also, just by continuing to drive like this, without a doubt, gasoline was being used up. Honestly speaking, doing nothing, just standing still might have been better. However, doing nothing, being unable to do anything, staying still was painful. While thinking that, I kept driving. From previous experience when driving on the smaller roads, it was about 3 days before the gasoline ran out. The remaining 2,000 yen used to buy food from the convenience store was similarly 3 or 4 days worth. Clearly the end of things was coming into sight. Hey you. That place, Awajishima, was it? You want to go there? There was no reply, just the usual gazing out the window as always. I might want to go a bit, maybe. Why? Well, that's... Of course, we hadn't dashed out of the 7th floor with goals or plans to begin with. That was why for me, going west, east, or wherever it was, it didn't matter. I was sure any place would have been fine, just wanted some goal or destination. and the day completely turned into night. I was in some pachinko parlor's parking lot. Of course, I wasn't planning on making money off pachinko or slots. With this measly 2,000 yen, I knew I didn't stand a chance. However, if it was just 10 or 20,000 yen, it should be easy to steal that much. That was from my previous travels through pachinko parlors, my guess. Just that much, for the moment we'd be fine. Might even be able to get to the Awajishima. That was why I spoke about my plan to the girl. How about it? Want to try?
Yeah.
I see. Alright. It was what was expected, but I was plainly refused. From the start, it wasn't as if I was expecting anything from the girl. It wasn't as if I had sought out her help. Explaining my plan to her was more like a declaration. Well then, wait a bit. Leaving her in the car, I walked toward the pachinko parlor alone. Inside the unexpectedly crowded shop, there was a number of machines, ball dispensers, and a fair amount of people. Here and there were also a number of stacked cash boxes. It might be just right. Making that decision, I headed toward the slot corner that was my target. After a while scouting from the aisles, from examining the area, I found one machine. Some middle-aged man who definitely looked like an office worker had stacked 4 boxes by his feet. Above his head, another 2 were stacked. Moreover, it was a corner machine, and the neighboring machines were empty. From what I had seen from before, it also didn't seem to have come with friends or acquaintances. The conditions were lined up. Most likely in that state, even if 1 box by his feet were stolen, he wouldn't notice right away. If it was like similar shops, it would be worth some 20,000 yen. Yet just that much. Simply waited intently for the office worker-like person to head to the restroom. Eventually, about when 30 minutes had passed, finally the man stood up from his seat. Quickly following after, I went to the restroom to make sure. In a rush, I quickly returned to the slot machine. Next, while checking on the people who were playing the slots and the shop staff, slowly approached the machine. Then, in order to avoid suspicion, acting perfectly natural, pulled up a cash box at my feet. Crash. At that instant, a tremendous sound raised as the slot coins scattered on the floor. Pull it up, was the plan. No, I definitely raised it up once with these hands. However, unable to support the weight, I wound up dropping the entire box on the floor. And then all eyes looked over, wondering what had caused the loud racket. Thought I heard the sound of voices, felt the presence of people running over. However, those voices were heard from behind me. Already by that time, I was 2 meters in front of the shop's exit. Slam. Pant pant. Starting the engine in a big rush, I slammed on the gas. Turning the wheel, I hurriedly pulled the car out. At that time. Bang, scrape, scrape. Tsk. Maybe because I had driven up onto the curb or something just then, I wound up ramming the rear. That nasty scraping sound was a body scraping on something. However, there wasn't time to worry about that. I drove out onto the road in front of us. While rubbing my chest, which was almost out of breath, I drove the silver coupe along the now totally dark road. I was a bit worried about the spot that was hit before, but for now getting away from that place had priority. Eventually, driving about 10 minutes about when we were totally clear of the pachinko parlor, I stopped the car by some roadside and began inspecting the place that was hit earlier.
大丈夫?
Yeah, it's probably nothing major. From the passenger seat, the girl called to me sounding just a tiny bit worried. As I inspected the damaged area, I answered. From the looks of it, the rear bumper was slightly dented and the muffler's tip was a bit cracked. With just this, there probably wouldn't be a problem driving. Phew! Feeling relief, I let out a sigh. So close. Immediately, I recalled the events in the pachinko parlor. I had failed, just a little bit more to go, but if I did it well, next time I thought I could succeed. I figured that even though I hadn't been able to carry the cash box, that was only because I hadn't lifted heavy things in a while. If I were prepared from the start, I could probably manage. Setsumi. You're being mistaken. Eh? The you now should be different from the you from before. The girl's words were as if she had seen clear through me. But with just that much weight.
同じように考えない方がいい.
Oh, look at that. Most likely what she was saying was right. I didn't want to admit it. The me now was different from the me from before. Certainly, with my strength reduced by this much, it was hard to believe I would succeed. Then, what should I do? To that question, there came no answer. Just quiet gazing at the dark sky beyond the window. Was that telling me to give up? Emerald Sea. I think it's the final chapter, right? and everything's horrible.
時間を止め、心を止めて、情報だけを積み重ねる日々。
Oh man. Days of gazing at maps, closing my eyes, traveling to unknown towns. One day, on a monthly magazine I always bought, my eyes stopped on a photo decorating the back cover. It was a female model wearing a flashy swimsuit. Shot at the water's edge with that sort of pose. The emerald sea I always saw in my dreams behind her back, she was smiling. I was sure we were around the same age. With that exceptional figure, happy and relaxed, directing a smile at me. I don't think I was particularly envious. For one thing, I didn't have a swimsuit, and I didn't even have any urgent need for one. For me, if I had pajamas, that was enough.
いくつもの季節を、白い梅雨空を、誰とも言葉を交わす必要もなく過ごした。
That day, first year of middle school in June, the first day I was admitted into the hospital, I remember that I had ordered a swimsuit, recalled the swimsuit from a number of years before. I remember the swimsuit that had lost its debut that day. Taking it out of the drawer for the first time in years, a school swimsuit that was still brand new. Taking off my usual pajamas nervously, I put on that blue swimsuit. It was a perfect fit. Even though how many years had passed? It fit as if, just now, I had ordered it. Towards my figure, the monthly magazine smiled, directed her smiling face at me, smiled with the emerald sea to her back. The exceptional figure, happy and relaxed, directing a smile at me. That was saddening. I didn't think I was particularly envious. However, to be honest, I really might have admired her. Because I knew that was impossible. I might have yearned for it even more so.
だけど、胸の大きな傷跡が諦めろと諭した。生涯の伴侶は目を閉じた世界にしろと諭した。
January 22nd, 2005. When the sun slowly slanted, staining the western sky orange. As always, we continued to drive. What should we do now? Our money was for the most part tight.
ねえあなた、
When I was thinking about that, surprisingly, the girl spoke to me. Setsumi. You can go take baths? Right now, outside of long baths, I've been told to stop. Setsumi. I see. Something similar to me then. What she was saying was probably whether the doctors have stopped me from taking baths or not. Especially for kidney and digestive disorders, where there's tubes were used, baths were often banned. Thinking about it that way, at the least, the girl probably had a circulatory problem like I did. What, did you want to go take a bath?
悪い。
No, I want to take one also. Even so, financially speaking, stopping at a hostel or hotel was out of the question. Well then, shall we look for a bathhouse someplace?
銭湯。
Yeah, something like that. You still have the money for...
やっぱり。
What, you're fine? Since that day when we left from the 7th floor, 3 days had already passed. There, bathing was done twice a week, and in order to wipe the body, each day there were 2 warm sponge baths. Well, because of the season, we didn't sweat and we were mostly in the car, so it didn't particularly get dirty, but... Is it that you're embarrassed about the bathhouse, and so you don't want to go?
別にそんな意味じゃないわよ。
Oh, because she has a large scar. The sun had completely set and a large moon showed its face in the sky. After that, driving for a while, I found a place that looked like a school somewhere. Here might be just right. Stopped the car on the roadside near the entrance. Then I began fishing through that massive laundry that had been left in the back seat. I was sure there were 2 or 3 towels. So pushing aside the clothes that didn't matter, I took up what felt like a towel. It had the words Shiraishi Construction printed on it. Most likely some marketing thing, as it was a shabby towel. Well, wait a bit. Holding 2 of the shabby towels, I headed to the school in front of us. Climbing over the closed gate, I peered around the area for the place I was looking for. Ah, there it is. Well, I found the faucet I was looking for. It was probably there for the gardens. Turning the faucet, the water flowed out strongly, cold enough that I felt like it would cut through you. Then I went to towels and firmly wrung them out. Slam. Sorry for the wait. Here. Taking one of the two damp towels in my hand, I gave one of them to the girl. Then taking off the sweatshirt I wore on top, I went ahead and started to wipe my body. The car interior, well warm from the heater, the feeling of the chilly damp towel felt good. You don't have to hold back. Wipe your body. It's cold and feels good, you know?
わかった。
First, the girl had remained unmoving with a sense of hesitation. With that answer, she slowly took her hands to the buttons of on her clothes. Floppy dress shirt and jeans. Unlike me, she placed her hands within her clothes and wiped her body that way. Something the matter?
見ないでよ。
Ah, sorry, that's right. Holding the towel in her hands, the girl murmured with her clothes partially off. She made a face with just the slightest bit of reluctance and embarrassment. It's the first time I saw her with that expression. In the cramped car, the two of us faced our backs to each other. How about it? Feels good, doesn't it? It was just turning totally dark and the interior was dimly lit. The glass right in front of me reflected the image of myself wiping my body. And further past my figure, it reflected the figure of the girl behind my back. Just like me, she had taken off her top and was wiping herself. Without intending to, I saw her. A large scar on her chest could be seen. Most likely, they were scars from surgery. I didn't know the details, but it was larger than mine.
ねえあなた、
What is it?
そんなに珍しい。
From beyond my back, words directed toward my figure reflected in the glass. She caught him peeping. Under the cloudy sky, the silver coupe ran on. As always, it continued to run with no destination, and looking back, 3 days had passed. In that span, nothing particularly special had happened. To be really particular, along the way, we found a practically free open-air bath. There wasn't really many people around, so at least we managed to take a bath. Other than that, we were towards the bottom of our money, and once again, towards the bottom of our gas tank. Have you gotten a bit tired of it?
別に。
The two of us, while eating convenience store onigiri, we exchanged words. What happened? Compared to the food on the 7th floor, it might have been better, but even then, after eating only this for a number of days, it was looking boring. However, even this kind of food, considering our money, would probably end in a few more trips to the store.
音がうるさい。
Huh? What's this all of a sudden?
車の音。前より大きくなってる。
Ah, now that you say, it really has. Most likely the cause was that time we fled from the pachinko parlor a few days ago, where the muffler was hit. I hadn't been worrying about it, but certainly the sound of the car had gotten a bit louder. But it probably wasn't going to get in the way of driving. Before that, the problem right before us was gasoline. The meter had been pointing at empty, and we had been running like that for 5 minutes. And our money right now amounted to 900 yen. With that, unlike last time, it was clearly not enough. We totally ran out of gas, and there would probably be nothing that we could do. Making a decision, I pulled into a gas station and moreover, look for a self-service station. Soon I found one and pulled the car to a stop at the closest pump out of the many lined up. I'll get some gas.
そう。
Don't get out of the car. Cause, you know what's gonna happen, guys. There was no reply, however she probably also understood what that meant. Opening the car's gas cap, I put the gasoline by imitating others. The area where was one other customer, and in the back was a building with the vending machines. I could also see someone that looked like a clerk. Most likely, that was where one paid the bill. Looking at the explanatory plate on the wall, it seemed that after filling up, one would take the receipt over there. In that case, we could just drive off and run away. While looking around the quiet gas station, that's what I felt. 23, 24, 25, 26. The numbers on the meters showing the amount of gas pumped. Like before, I thought it was going very slowly. I felt very irritated while waiting for the tank to fill. And then passing 40 liters just when the tank was about to fill up. Welcome! The clerk that seemed to be a part-timer that had been in the building up until now for some reason ran over here. Ashtray, tire pressure, are they all fine? Yes, they're fine. I see, it's cold, so please be careful. Perhaps intended to be a service, clerk started cleaning the windows. As that was happening, the pump announced the tank was full and with a businesslike sound spat out the receipt. Please make your payment over there. Pausing from washing the windows, the clerk pointed to the building from before. Silently I held the receipt. Unable to think of what to do, I wound up standing still. Is something the matter, sir? No, nothing. For the moment, I went back inside the car. Then I started up just the engine. What should I do? The part-time clerk was staring to clean the rear window now. Right now, if I just slammed on the accelerator. However, without a doubt, the license plate would be noted down. If there was an investigation, we would easily be caught. However, in order to run here, I made a decision and firmly stepped on the clutch. Then, as I was switching out of neutral gear and into second, suddenly the girl took out an envelope. From inside that, she took out a 10,000 yen bill and held it out to me. You had money? I had been convinced she had none. If that were the case, I wouldn't have had to go through all that trouble up to now. Why didn't you say anything?
あなた、聞いた？
No, that's...
聞かれなかったからよ。
With just that answer, once again as usual, she faced the window. Once again, the coupe ran on. For now, we had a full tank of gas. Moreover, I had also received a 5,000 yen bill as change. But for me, I was more interested about what happened just before. Hey, so you... Here, this is all of it. Huh? Before I could speak, the girl offered me the envelope from before, just like that. It's okay if I use this?
別にいいわよ。
Looking inside the envelope I received, there were still 4 10,000 yen bills. With that, we would probably be fine for a while. However, now I was more concerned about something else. Why did the girl have so much money? At the least, the few thousand yen that I had from the start was just what I had been carrying when we left. However, in the girl's case, it felt like she had been prepared in advance. Hey, you. Before you said that you didn't like the 7th floor, right?
家だって嫌よ。
I'm the same way. Then you were planning on going somewhere. There's the money for that purpose, isn't it? Then I remembered the girl's words from before. She had said that she would go somewhere while she was still able to move on her own, asked me whether I wanted to stop her or wanted to go with her. Then you really did have someplace you wanted to go to.
別に
I can't understand if you say not particularly. Setsumi. Ellipses.
ないわよ。
Just that, looking lonely, she sadly murmured. Then she was without a destination, still picturing someday in the future, simply preparing for it all this time alone. I was concerned why she had been doing such an empty thing, but I sensed the girl's lonely profile was confirming that.
じゃあ、あなたはどうなの？
Even me, not particularly.
真似しないでよ。
I'm not imitating you. Continue driving without a destination. I, who had impulsively flew from the 7th floor, and the girl didn't have a place to go, but hollowly only continued to prepare. However, right now it doesn't matter where. Just want to go somewhere. At the least, for me, I wanted something to give me direction. Well, how about that Awaji Shime that we talked about before? The money we have now, it's definitely enough to go. I was sure that any place would have been fine, even the 7th floor, even someplace not home, so long as we could continue going. However, I didn't just want to wander around aimlessly. I think I wanted a goal, didn't matter what. Don't you think about wanting to go too?
別に
With just that answer, once again she turned her gaze out the window like she usually did. As always, her eyes seemed to be looking for something far away. Just what on earth is she looking at, I wonder? What was she thinking? What was she expecting when she came here, I wonder? Nope, we just keep going. Route 1!
地図を見るのは好きだった。
You learned a lot about Setsumi. Because the player doesn't. What? I mean the protagonist doesn't. The Route 1 night that continued forever. The unknown places. The cars that would take me everywhere. I loved them. But no matter how much knowledge I accumulated, it was imagination. Reality. My heart both steadily grew frail. I had a swimsuit, I had maps, but I had no future. I even had a world outside the window, but I had no reality I could touch. If I close my eyes, I can go to a world of nothingness, but it wasn't as if this world itself had disappeared. I knew that. My lifelong companion was resigned to the world of closed eyes, and yet, always imagining what if, hoping for a maybe, gazing at a dream, but in the end, yearning never went beyond longing. Both the bikini swimsuit and the emerald sea. The large scar on my chest advised me to give up.
だけど
Spending most of my life at a hospital, spending time only in the world of my closed eyes, being unable to choose anything but the 7th floor home was pitiful. Without being given room to choose, even saying that, unable to find that place, I felt myself to be pathetic. Even though I had lived 22 years.
一つくらい好きにさせてよ。
When I remembered that time that should have stopped felt like it swayed. On that day, the heart that should have stopped hurt. Route 1, Hiratsuka. The clear blue sky of winter reflected on the hood as the silver coupe ran. As always, it ran without a destination, but for the moment neither gasoline nor shopping seemed to be a problem. Soon we were about to enter a large intersection. Last night I had gotten the girl's approval, but I just generally headed west anyway. It's just that I had absolutely no idea about the geography, and the cost of using the expressways seemed painful. While thinking about that, a large intersection came up ahead. Without thinking about it, I was going to drive straight through.
そこ、左折。
Eh?
左に曲がって。
Suddenly, the girl gave me directions. While wondering what was happening, I followed her instructions and made a left turn, coming out onto a large road. So what was that?
これが1号線。当分はまっすぐよ。
For a while, sudden directions left me surprised. Up until now, she had come along. While she seemed to know everything, this was the first time she had spontaneously gave me directions. Is it that you started wanting to go? To that place, Awajishima.
悪い。
No, that's not what I meant. We had driven without any destination. I, who had been wandering around wanting a goal, the mysterious girl always looking for her way. What came from that girl's mouth was unexpected.
期待してるわけじゃない。
Eh?
別に水着が欲しいわけじゃ。
What are you saying?
なんでもないわよ。
Route 22, Nagoya. Under the clear winter sky reflecting the sunlight, the silver coupe ran on. Passed through Hakone, the steep inclines and sudden curves, and now the roads turned much gentler. Hey, this place is around where?
愛知県よ。間もなく名古屋市街に入るわ。
Yo, Nagoya. Thinking of our money, we drove on the lower roads without using the expressways. Myself alone, it would have been absolutely impossible. Following the girl's directions, we went on. The girl who was more knowledgeable than the navigation system pointed out the way. I didn't know the reason why, but I felt that it was probably the right route.
次の交差点。22号線に入って。
Got it. Changing lanes as told, I turned the wheel. The scenery flowing by the window, we first saw a busy city stretching far to the north. Then, while all unnoticed, the scene around us slowly turned to more calm things. Hey, you want to go there? By the side of the national road, some family restaurant chain. As I drove, I pointed to it and continued speaking. Look, up until now, we've been eating only convenience store food, right? Of course, we hadn't been eating only convenience store food because we liked it. We had to consider our money and didn't have that sort of room for choosing. Now we had a little bit of room financially. That was why I made the suggestion. Well, once in a while, a restaurant's good too, right?
私はコンビニでいい。
While saying that just a bit, the girl looked down. Seemed like she was looking at her clothes. Ah, that's right. She's been wearing those floppy clothes all this time. Got it. Then want to go there first?
あっちって。
Look, the store just up front. Some kind of jean shop. It's one of those places often seen along the national roads that look like some kind of wholesale outlet dealing jeans and casual wear. I'm sure a store like that would have things that don't cost very much. Well, we're going in, okay? Yeah. There was no reply, but there was also no resistance. Could it be that if she didn't object, I could think of it as agreement? We entered the store. On 2 large floors, the girl curiously went around many of the sections. She was silent as usual and might have looked unchanged from her usual appearance. But somehow, it was slightly different from the time she was lifelessly staring at whatever came on the boring television. Over and over, she would pick something up, look at the price tag, then fall into thought. And while trying these things on, she would come up to me.
どう？
How is it? It suits you.
変じゃない？
Probably. Over and over like that, she would change clothes and come back to show me. She would never smile or show any emotion, but I sensed somewhere that she was enjoying herself. How about it? Decided?
これにする。
While saying that, she showed me the last set she changed into. Cute shirt and short skirt. Those clothes were just exactly like a middle school or high school student's. She happily wore them. I'm sure she had said that she was older than me. But however you looked at it, when put together with a figure that really didn't look older, suited her so well it was charming. That skirt, isn't it better if you gave up on it? No, it's not that it doesn't suit you or anything. Look, it's cold, isn't it? It's not an outfit for this season.
別に平気よ。私我慢するから。
Oh, she would endure, man. When she answered, I could just see the slightest bit of red on her pale face. Even though normally she would absolutely never show any emotion. Could she be embarrassed? It was the first time I saw her show that emotion. Continued driving on. Under the high winter sky, the silver coupe with the slightly noisy exhaust continued going.
次で21号線に入って。
Got it. As usual, we went on following the girl's navigation. Before we knew it, we were in Gifu Prefecture. Normally, except when needed, the girl would always be gazing out the window. And now, again and again, she would happily look at her reflection in the side mirror. As if she were trying to avoid me noticing, she peered into the mirror.
何？
Nothing. Clothes from before looks like you like them.
別にそんなことないわよ。
Saying that, she stopped looking at the side mirror. But after a while, when I was looking away, she once again started checking the mirror. In the end, it seemed like she's also got a cute side. Just that little thing, because of how she normally was, I thought she was cute. When the sun had completely set, some roadside somewhere, we had once again finished our meal of convenience store food. Well, there's a lot of typos in this. Oops. Say, I wonder what's become of things right now. Even now, wrapped around my wrist, the white vinyl bracelet. On it, my blood type and name was recorded. As I looked at the hospital's nameplate, I murmured. Yo, how's it going, Creechy? You think there's been a big uproar?
多分ね。
Yeah. Parents, friends, as well as the hospital doctors. But I thought that even if only on the surface they were worried about me, it pained my heart a little. Conspiracy boy? What? What kind of nickname is that? Sorry, Dad. Everyone. Going off and doing something selfish.
ねえ、あなたって
Something the matter?
最初に死ぬって聞かされた時泣いた。
I At her sudden question, for a moment, I was taken aback. Then I thought about the weight of the question for a time. I think I didn't cry.
じゃあどうして自分だけって運命を呪った？
That, I don't really remember. In the beginning, I wasn't able to realize what was happening in reality. I think it was because I couldn't conceive it as being real. However, honestly, there might have been a bit of that. A friend that I went to the training center with bought a new car, complained about how much trouble the 36 loan payments were. There were those who got jobs, those who got left back in school, those who had kids, those who were dumped by their girlfriends again. But I was denied a future. That was why, to be honest, I think there had been the feeling of why only me. Even when I told myself that this was fate, still, I think there was the feeling of not wanting to give up. And what about you?
私
Yeah, did you cry out of sadness or curse fate? Setsumi. Ellipses.
私は平気だった。
Why?
だって最初から何も望んでなかったから。私は諦めていたから。
I see. If you gave up from the start, there would be no disappointment. If you turned our back, there wouldn't be any happy things, but also no painful things. I had a feeling that that way of thinking was far too sad. Or perhaps in the girl's case, maybe there was nothing else that could be done.
前に見た映画で言ってた。狼は3年しか生きないって。
What? Wolves? Suddenly she started talking about something I didn't really get.
でもロバは9年も生きるんだって。
What's this? Wolves are 3 years and donkeys are 9?
ロバは役に立つから長生きする。
Oh.
そういうことらしいの。
The girl looked lonely as she gazed out the window, her words tumbling out. This was probably for this girl, the excuse to convince herself. The excuse so that she could give up. Under the evening winter sky, we continued straight along Route 21. Dancing in that darkening sky, lightly floating specks of white. Seemed that, depending on circumstances, it might snow harder.
どうかした？
Yeah, it's snowing. I noticed that the sides of the road had become white with fallen snow. I didn't know when we had come to a snowy area, but everywhere I looked was stained with white. This might be trouble. From what I had seen before, these tires weren't studless winter tires. Further ahead was an even snowier area. Might be troublesome. Well, don't make fun of each other in chat, guys. Come on. Hey, is this place a snowy area? Well, if the snow gets any worse, it might be difficult, you see. Even if the road surface wasn't covered in snow, in such a place it wasn't surprising if the road froze over. And think about it, I hadn't learned anything outside of the instruction center's textbook. Might even need to have chains put on. How about it, do you know?
この先は関ヶ原。
I heard that last time. What I want to know is whether this place gets heavy snow.
わからない。
Ah. For some reason she answered with a lonely expression. Looking at her, I felt that something was a bit off. Even though she knew that much about the roads and also knew so much about this car. Compared to that, this seemed like something she would definitely know. Alright, at any rate, I'll drive carefully. The shoreline. We got out of the car and gazed at a lake. Blown by the strong wind here and there, white snow even stained the frozen lake surface. And that, facing what seemed like the edge of the ocean, the girl slowly started walking. It was a scene that occurred before.
ねえ、どう思う？
That if you continue into the sea like this, would you die comfortably thing?
海より楽な気がする。
I don't see the basis for the answer.
だって海水は塩辛いし体も浮いちゃうでしょ。
Well, they're putting some music, man. Well, that's impressive reasoning. The cold north wind and the falling snow, the two of us exchanged words where you couldn't tell whether we were serious or joking. And then the feet that had briefly paused once again started to move towards the lake.
やっぱり止めないの。
Well, today you don't plan on dying, right?
そうかもね。
That place, Awajishima. Just how much further would that be, I wonder? It's not as if I wanted to go there or that I had some sort of obsession with it. However, even though we had been wandering around with no purpose now, we found ourselves a place to aim for. Even if without me stopping her, the girl's feet remained one step before the water's edge. I was sure that was how it was.
そこから1号に戻って。
I felt that I've had chat that was not related to this game for the most of it. So if I didn't respond, that's probably where I got it. From Route 8 back to Route 1. Following our navigation, this time we were headed towards Kusatsu.
ねえ、今ってお金は大丈夫？
We still have about 30,000 yen. We had previously bought clothes, but beside that, continue on our usual convenience store fare. Something the matter?
じゃあ高速に乗る？
Expressway? Can't go all the way using smaller roads?
確かにギリギリまでならいけるけど、でも最終的には必ず有料道路に乗るから。
I see. Well, if it's Awaji Island after all. Oh, that's right. That's what Awajishima means. Shima means island. Duh. I didn't know the details, but in order to get to Awajishima, I had to cross the Seto Ahashi Bridge or some such bridge.
じゃあ草津からバイパスに入って。
This is Narcissu? Yes, both the protagonist, the male protagonist who is me, and Setsumi, the girl, they both have terminal illnesses. Setsumi has probably spent about more than half of her 22 years of life in a hospital. And I think the main character here has spent like 4 to 5 years admitted into a hospital before they moved into the 7th floor of it, which is basically where people go to die because there's no treatments to save them. Alright. Following her direction, we went from the Seta interchange and connected to the Meishin Expressway. Compared to the regular roads we had been running on until now, it was obviously better maintained. There were no traffic lights, and the good visibility of the road, even for a first-time expressway driver like myself, felt it was easy to drive on. Just that, if I were in the high-speed lane on the right, cars that came up from behind at a ferocious pace were scary. In the beginning, I didn't know what passing was, or what the right blinker meant, but when I got used to it, I thought driving on the expressway was fun. Yeah, this is not exactly a happy story, visual novel story. I mean, with that said, the comment came out, Kato wa Shoujo next? I'm like, well, I'm not gonna lie, probably. What? Amazing, that car. Passing us at an astounding speed, some car from somewhere, we're driving leisurely and couldn't help but look at each other. Also, the girl who sat in the passenger seat looked slightly different from usual. Normally she would be looking out the window with the distant eyes, but today, surprisingly, she was curiously looking around at the cars. Speaking of which, for some reason, she knew a lot about cars. I pointed at the car from before that ferociously passed us by. So, what car was that just now? Come now, think of it like a quiz.
Toyota Celica. Overview.
Oh. And the one that passed us now?
Storoe, Kusara.
She knows her cars. Oh, you really know your stuff. To be honest, I didn't know whether she was right or not. However, the girl would rarely open her mouth on her own, seemed to be enjoying herself as she answered again and again. That was why, without pausing, I continued to speak.
青いのがユーノス、赤いのはアルファロメオ。
She even answered for 2 cars that passed us at the same time. But you don't know that one, right? They spoke this time pointed to something different from a normal car, truck. Want to see that slightly troubled face from the girl who would show so little emotion. So yeah, I guess you don't know trucks, eh?
日産アトラス10。
Wrecked. Hey, you're amazing. Even though I was trying to give her a hard time, I thought she would know even trucks. You know this much, isn't it on a level where you can be proud of it?
そう。
Yeah, I think you could stand tall about it. The girl returned to silence at my words. Seemed just a bit embarrassed. I'm sure she really liked cars. Well then, when we get over there, want to try driving?
でも私、免許持ってない。
It'll be fine. I'm sure driving on the beach or something will be fun. Most likely, if you go to Awajishima, there'll be plenty of deserted places. Plus, this car was a manual transmission, so once she got used to it, I think it should be interesting. Well, in that case, I'll teach you. Though I'm just a new driver myself. Hey, echo. You guys know what echo is? When the high sun was just misting over, Silver Coupe continued to run along the expressway. Soon we'd be at the Katsuragawa parking area. Moving slower, we drove in what could be called a slow resting place. Say, you want to take a break next?
うん。
What's wrong?
ちょっと疲れたみたい。
I see. It wasn't too surprising. Just before, she had been so excited, and originally, we were even more sick than ordinary sick people, so it's probably natural. Well, I'll go buy you something. Alright, I'll go quickly buy something. Slam. Rushing over to a nearby shop, bought things that weren't much different from what I would buy at a convenience store. Here, Pocari and a rice ball, that and also fries. Those were the words she replied with, but she just took them and didn't move to eat. Even though normally she would have started eating the fries first. You alright? Could be that you're starting to feel bad?
薬が切れただけだから。
Uh-oh. I see. Her medicine ran out. That was something I had feared. Well, no. It was something that could easily be imagined from the moment we left the hospital. Of course, I hadn't forgotten about it on purpose. Up until now, I hadn't even thought about it. More than that, I didn't even have the sense to think about it. Since when? When did your medicine run out?
昨日の夜。
Then it's almost been an entire day. In my case, I've been told by the doctors that 2 days without taking any was my limit. Most likely it was similar in her case. Now that I thought about it, since the day that we left the hospital, 8 days had passed already. With the amount of medicine that we carried on hand, it was obvious that sooner or later we would wind up like this. Right now, what should I do?
ね。私、7階は嫌よ。
Yeah, I know. And you don't want home either, right? Setsumi. Once again, the silver coupe ran on. Then I got off the expressway at the next exit. It wasn't like that would fix anything, but I wouldn't be able to do anything while on it. From the bleak expressway exit, I continued driving towards an urban area. Then I searched not for a small town doctor, but a large hospital. More precisely, I was looking for the pharmacies near large hospitals. To be honest, going to a hospital may have been the best thing. If it were a normal sickness, I would have done so without any hesitation. However, we were residents of the 7th floor. The vinyl identification bracelets wrapped around our wrists were white. And also, we were people who had fled from the 7th floor. While thinking about that, I peered around while gripping the wheel. I was sure that a pharmacy near a large hospital should have most things. Found one. Standing on the corner facing a large street was some large university hospital. Right near it were the signs of 2 or 3 pharmacies. Just when I decided I wouldn't be able to find the parking, found an open space and quickly stopped the car. Hey, let me borrow your medicine bag. With a mystified expression, the girl handed the bag with medicine over. Took that bag of hospital-use medicine, took out only the paper explaining the medicine. With this, it should be fine. Well, I'll be back soon. Leaving her alone in my car, I ran the short distance to the pharmacy. Swoosh. Passing through the rather slow automatic doors, I came into the store, headed straight for the counter. Welcome! The person who called out to me was a middle-aged man. Oh, I'm sorry. Gave him the normal part-time clerk voice. Wearing white clothes, he really fit the image of a pharmacist. I need this medicine, please. Yes, please wait a moment. With that, the man took the medicine explanation paper I handed over and went into the back. Most likely, instead of dispensing normal medicine, this place dispensed medicine from hospitals. I went to an outpatient hospital before, and we're going to a place like this just to get medicine. Obviously, it was built right next to the hospital, so I thought that most medicines would probably be gathered here. Sorry for the wait, it comes out to this much. Eventually, the man returned. In his hands were clear bags with capsules of medicine, carrying 2 bundles of them. With that much, it was probably alright for a while. At a glance, it was probably 1 week's worth. And then, as I was taking out my wallet... before that, may I have your prescription? Prescription? I'm talking about the prescription for the medicine. Those are for clinical use, you see. Received one from the doctor, right? I hadn't expected this. Well, no. Thinking about it calmly, these weren't over-the-counter items, and you couldn't normally buy these. Something the matter? No, they're dying, and they escaped from the hospital, and they don't want to die at home, so they're now on an adventure. I falter, and the man in the white bag to lay increasingly suspicious eyes on me. Wait, that's... Then noticing the white bracelet wrapped around my wrist, and the words that were written on it. My name, blood type. And he was trying to read the name of the hospital. Grab. The medicine left on the glass counter. Reflexively, I grabbed the whole pile. Hey, wait! The man behind the counter gave a great shout. I heard that voice behind me, but I was already running. It's only 5 meters from the shop exit. Unable to gain steady footing, I was stumbling, but even then I ran on in a daze. And then coming into the rather slow automatic door as I was making to leave the store, it was dead. Clang crash. Ow, damn it! Suddenly, for a moment, my awareness turned white. Slammed my head into the edge of the automatic door with enough force that it seemed to have cracked. While shaking my wobbly head, I reached out with my hand to open the automatic door that had stopped partially open. Then when I got out of the store, I began running. I didn't let go of the bags of medicine I'd been holding. Unable to help myself, I ran out of breath and wound up raising my chin up. It was only a few tens of meters to the car, but it felt awfully long. It didn't seem like anyone was chasing after me, but I didn't even have the luxury of looking back to check. If I were caught, what would happen to her? Alone in the car, she would probably sit there forever waiting for my return. As I thought about that, for some reason I ran in earnest. While staggering out of breath and thinking that this was my full strength, in spite of myself, I felt it was sad. Slam. Phew. As if collapsing, I fell into the seat, panted heavily as I tore the car onto the road. Clearly more so than the other day at the pachinko parlor, I became aware of how much strength had dropped. And then checking the rear mirror, it looked like I really had been cut by the glass, but the blood was flowing from my forehead. If it's just this much, it'll likely stop soon. While driving, I lightly pressed some pocket tissues on it.
大丈夫
Yeah, I'm fine.
でも血が出てるし
Don't worry about it, it's nothing. I waved my hand to the girl, directing a worried face towards me, telling her not to worry. And then I handed her the bundle of medicine still gripping in my left hand. Here, take your medicine. With this, I thought we'd be fine for the moment. At least it would probably hold out for a week. But when this runs out, what would happen? It was good that today had been a success by chance. It was clear that my own strength was declining every day. Originally, we didn't have a goal or place to go. Because we had no desires, we had no fear of losing anything. But now things were slightly different. With the birth of purpose, the fear of loss also was born. January 29, Suita Junction, Kobe Junction, Akashi. The day cleared up in that clear, so very high sky that was characteristic of winter spread wide. Once again, we went on the expressway with happy music all of a sudden. Right now we left the Suita Junction. We're running along the Chugoku Expressway. Hey, what's the next one?
神戸ジャンクションから。
Got it. The Sanyo Expressway, right? Following the girl's direction, the silver coupe ran. Coming all the way out here, the signs all along the way were occasionally showing the words Aojishima. Since the day we escaped from the 7th floor, the trip odometer had already passed 900 kilometers. He's driving a silver coupe. It has an M on it. I'm not sure what that means. She did say it before. Yeah. They mentioned the car before. I like completely blanking now. It seemed unthinkable that we had gone so far, but our destination was just a short distance away. Eventually, a large bridge appeared before us. This is the Kakyo Bridge. It's an amazing bridge, isn't it? The two of us couldn't help but be impressed. It was as if it ran atop the sea forever. Then after we drove for a while, right in the middle of the bridge, here and there, cars were stopped and people could be seen. Most likely those were tourists who got out of their cars to take commemorative photos. Imitating those people, I pulled the car to a stop alongside the side of the road.
ここ、駐停車禁止よ。
Well, if it's just for a bit, it'll probably be fine. Besides, from what we've seen, a number of other cars had stopped in the same way. Come now, let's go for a bit and have a look. I'm sure it's got an amazing view.
わかった。
She still sounded a little reluctant, but she got out of the car to join me. Phew. That's the sound of the wind, much better in the game than it was from my voice. A strong cold wind whistled atop the bridge. It's colder than it seems, isn't it? Since we normally wouldn't come out of the car, we felt it all the more. In contrast to us, farther down, there were two people that seemed to be a couple. It looked like they were taking commemorative photos and raising their voices so happily that even we could hear. Looking around closer, other than those two, there were families and groups also taking pictures. Commemorative picture, eh? Certainly for a place like this, one was necessary. Speaking of which...
どうかした？
Yeah, wait a sec. I was certain that there had been a camera. I remember that before, the first time I had been searching through the car, I had found a cheap disposable camera. At the time, from what little I saw, I thought there were a few shots left. Pulling out the camera, I checked the film. Wonderful, there's still 2 shots left. Sorry for the wait. Look, I'll take one for you. Take one of you. A picture, photo, since we're here after all.
嫌よ。
Now, don't say that. Strike a pose or something for me. As I spoke, I readied the camera, pointing at her. Come now, try making a bit of a happier face. However, maybe because she was embarrassed, even when she finally faced this way, she had on a sulking expression. Or perhaps, from her, this was her trying her best to make a smile. As I thought about that, I made ready to shoot the camera. Excuse me, could you take a picture of us? Huh? Sure. That random couple came up to us with the camera in hand. Okay, ready? Yes, please. Happily, the two hugged shoulders and 2 of them smiled. Placed the 2 of them in the viewfinder to hit the shutter. Click! Oh, it's a Honda Integra? Okay. There you go. Thank you. Thank you very much! Well, exchange, we'll take a picture of you two. Huh? No, we're... Just press here on the camera, right? Faster than my reply, he took my camera. Actually, it was more like he snatched it. Most likely, he was being polite, ignoring our hesitation, and quickly readied the camera. Come now, the 2 of you get closer together. With those words, I moved my body just a bit closer to the girl. So looking emotionless as always, the girl next to me also moved just a hint closer. Could you please pose a bit more? Nosily, the boyfriend started adding more requests. Leaning closer, the guy's girlfriend was also giving us exasperated looks. Thinking there was no helping it, from behind her back to her shoulder, I slowly wrapped my arm around her. Setsumi. It was the first time I touched her body. The feeling of the childish clothes we bought the other day and waist-length hair spread from my hands. Setsumi. 1995 to 1998 model? Okay. Looking at the camera, I couldn't see the girl's expression, but Maybe. She might be wearing that embarrassed, pouting face that she would only show very rarely. Well then, ready! Click. Perhaps satisfied that they had taken a decent picture, the couple returned to their car. We also turned towards our own car. No looting lollies. Yes, no looting lollies. Our girlfriend, eh? Looks like we've been mistaken? Could it be that we look like it? I said it in just a bit of a joking way. For some reason it felt fun and I just wound up continuing in that light tone. Well, no. Well, what do you think, Setsumi? Setsumi. What's with that? You're the kid here. Even with those words, the same as always, she was facing the window. Her expression was the same and she didn't even move to look in my direction. But that was... Her eyes weren't the ones that always looked far away. I had a feeling that was embarrassing, and so she was turning her face away. Sumoto interchange. Looking up at the high sun, that characteristically blue sky spread on and on. From then, we went on for just a bit, and arrived at the Sumoto interchange. Once again, we exited and returned to the normal roads. Finally arrived, haven't we? Setsumi. Since the day we left on the 7th floor, the car's trip odometer showed some 900 kilometers. For an unplanned start, we really did make it all the way here. Well, where should we go from here? Setsumi. South. South? Got it. Following the girl's direction, I set off. Of course, coming here, even I knew what the place would be. I could see a number of signs for tourists in front of me. However, I followed her navigation. I had a feeling that it would be wrong if I didn't. For some reason, I wanted to do it that way. And Narcissus, which is, the name of the daffodils, and kind of the name of the game, Narcissu. Slowly, the setting sun dyed everything orange. A deserted beach, a strong cold wind swaying a pine grove. Driving the car out onto that beach, I turned the driver's seat over to her. So the clutch, can your feet reach it?
大丈夫.
Okay, then next, shift the gear from neutral to second. Setsumi. Wakatta. Alright, fine. Then do what you want.
わかった.
The girl with her short build stretched her foot out as far as she could, while gripping the wheel with a serious expression. Leaning out from the passenger seat, I spoke up. That's great. After that, slowly release the clutch. And then, looking obviously nervous. As expected, the grinding noise was phenomenal. Look, you need to disengage the clutch more quietly. Her words said so, but of course it wasn't something one got skilled at right away. The girl tried her best, chewing on her lip a bit in concentration. Exactly because she would normally show no emotion, her figure seemed charming to me. Hey, I'm about to start feeling sick.
わかってるわよ.
With the muffler slightly broken, the silver coupe was noisy. On the deserted beach, it was as if a howling voice was reverberating. When the sunset slowly changed into a night sky and the faltering sea breeze completely changed to being a land breeze. At some point, the face of a large moon hung in the sky. For the most part, it looks like you've gotten used to it. Along with that reply, she even shifted into third. Totally used to the clutch now, she was driving around the narrow beach. With this, you could get a license without going to the training center, no?
そうなの?
Well, I don't have much credibility. It's the words of someone who just got their license after all. By now, there was no meaning for us to get a license. Both of us knew that. We had maps, we had medicine, the muffler was a bit broken and loud, but we even had a silver coupe. But we had no time, had no future. It was exactly because we knew that I felt it was all the more trying. Well then, said I'll give you mine. As I spoke, I took out my own license from my pocket. This was originally the license that had lost its debut. To me, proof of the ordinary world that I should have already lost. Here, in place of your diploma.
もらっても使う時間なさそうよ.
Use it right now, right? Well, don't hold back. I'm more or less the same way after all. 7th floor that no one had ever escaped. High ceilings, windows that could only open 15 centimeters. white vinyl bracelets. Where the third time was the last, the girl on her second, I on my first. So here, congratulations on graduating.
ありがとう。
With a small nod, the girl accepted my license. With that, she was also licensed. Not only coupes, but sedans, even convertibles. She should be able to drive anything that she liked. Surely she should be able to go to any place that she liked. After that, we drove for a bit more. We arrived at our destination, the place where daffodils could be seen. It was supposed to be a tourist spot, but perhaps this was a bit far away from the area, or perhaps it was the night. No one was in sight. Within the perfect darkness of night, we're waiting for the dawn of the dim car interior.
ねえ、明かりつけないの？
Yeah, the battery seems about dead. That's right. Inside the car with even the engine off, only the dim light from the dashboard faintly illuminated our profiles. In the tight space of the car, where sound and light faded away, we exchanged very few words as we waited for sunrise. And then the lump of laundry that had been tossed to the rear seat, the thick jeans, sweatshirts, and towels. We took a number of those and wrapped them around our bodies in place of blankets. Aren't you cold? But you could come a little closer, you know. Look, don't hold back. Come here. Speaking to the girl shivering from the cold in the passenger seat, I pointed to my lap. I'm sure it'll be warmer here.
別に。私は平気よ。
As the girl spoke, her body was shivering. Even inside the car, her breath misted. It was obvious she was putting on a brave face.
それとも、あなたが寒いから来てほしいの？
Well, that's fine too.
じゃあ、わかった。
Then slowly she came over to my side and hesitatingly curled in my lap. See, it's a bit warmer, isn't it? The windshield was fogged, totally white from the cold outside. With that white and the dark outside, nothing could be seen outside. But soon the sun would rise. Surely at that time a field of white flowers would spread out. The night was quickly fading and the rising sun was turning the darkness from a faint purple to a pale white. Then, with the dawn, white flowers spread before our eyes. In the place that had only been black until now, white flowers appeared. The two of us couldn't help but get out of the car and gaze at the scene. Amazing. Spread before us countless daffodils. The morning dew caught the morning sun, further enhancing the bright whiteness of the prominent flowers. One could believe that was a carpet that stretched to the sea. And that we exchanged words, our breaths shining the same white. Since that day, the boring television showed the flowers. We had come to this place. Even though we had no goal, we managed to come all the way here. These flowers, I can think of them as being the same.
厳密に言っても同じ。
I see. That's good. I didn't know the difference between the varieties, but that day the television showed a scene of unbroken uniform beauty. Compared to that, the flowers before our eyes differed in size as well as how much they bloomed. But without a doubt, they were here.
綺麗。
Indeed. Vague, dull, ordinary, but always cold and merciless to everyone, reality. In a world filled only with things that couldn't be seen. A world filled with things where even if you stretch out your hand, you couldn't touch. Right now, something that could definitely be touched was before our eyes. Some fragments of those unseen things were scattered about. Awajishima. Rain continued to fall from the solid white January sky. Since then, the 2 days have passed. The whole time we're still in this place, we couldn't go. Hey, are you alright?
多分。
Her health had taken a turn for the worse. With the lying stretched out in the passenger seat, barely moved the car and had remained stopped here. She was taking her medicine, but perhaps they weren't effective. Her bad state of health remained constant. However, we were people from the 7th floor. From her original condition, her girl was on her second time to wind up like this wasn't too surprising. Say, do you want to go back?
あなた、帰りたいの？
Yeah, just a little bit.
7回。それとも家？
That's... I didn't know. What I did know was that sooner or later this would happen, and of course I myself was not too far from it. However, being able to only watch nearby, unable to do anything was painful. February 2nd, Awajishima. The rain didn't seem like it wanted to stop, continuing to fall from the dark night sky. Beyond the windows of the parked car, the shining white daffodils would faintly sway. Say, these here. As I spoke, I pointed at the white flowers beyond the windshield. These were narcissus, weren't they? Daffodils.
ナルシスが語源よ。
Narcissus? That was a word that I remember hearing before. Until now, I thought that it had been a familiar word, but... You mean Narcissus where Narcissus came from?
もともとが神話だから、いろんな説があるんだけどね。
And then the girl started to slowly explain as I wore an admiring expression on my face.
誰からも愛されるナルシス。妖精のエコーも、そんな彼が好きな一人だったの。でもエコーは、相手と同じ言葉しか話せない。
Nothing but the same words.
そう。だからナルシスに、先に彼の口から愛してるって言ってもらわないと、エコーは自分の気持ちを伝えることができないの。
In a lonely and sad voice, she continued to speak. Felt that her gaze, like before, was looking at some place much further away.
でも、そんなこと絶対にありえない。どんなに夢見て憧れても決して叶うことのないエコーの願い。最後にはナルシスに呪いをかけてしまうの。
That was the famous falling in love with his own image reflected in the pool?
そして自分の姿を見続けたナルシスは、いつしか綺麗な花へと姿を変えてしまうの。それがこの花、ナルキッソスの語源よ。
When the story came to an end, she lightly took a breath. I'd been listening and also felt desolate. Echo, who bore a yearning for something that could never be reached, felt as if it were just like us now. And then what happened to Echo?
いないわ。呪いをかけるときに消えちゃったから。
Disappeared. Then wasn't there no meaning to it? To go so far as to place a curse, but to get nothing from it. In the end, it just made Narcissus unhappy also.
どうかした？
No, but you're different, aren't you?
え？
Well, before, didn't you ask me? Whether I cursed my own fate, which I couldn't do anything about.
私は諦めているから。時間の止まった私。
Numerous seasons, white overcast skies, passed without even the need to exchange words with anyone.
いつから私は一人なのだろうか。目を閉じても世界は消えない。
Even if I stopped my ears, the sound of the rain wouldn't stop. I knew that. Neither the bikini swimsuit, the emerald sea, nor the happily smiling photo. I didn't really think I was envious. In the world of my closed eyes, even without maps or a car, I can go anywhere. Even if I wasn't being warned by the large scar on my chest. Even if this reality were Narcissus and I were Echo.
決して憧れない。呪わない。
Even though I was supposed to have decided that, my heart right now swayed. The time that was supposed to have stopped tried to move. Even though it did so now, very soon it would end.
傷は深ければ深いほど、それに比例して治るのも時間がかかるだし、それならば長い時間をかけてゆっくり離れてしまうと、もう取り返しがつかないのだろうか。じゃあ22年も生きた私はどうなるのだろう。
Hey, you alright? Before dawn, stretching my hand out to the passenger seat, I stroked her back. Since then, another 2 days had passed. The medicine that had been losing effectiveness had run out. But it was better than doing nothing. Thinking that, I reached for the car keys, planning on going to a pharmacy. Then, as I was about to switch on the ignition,
いいから。
in a weak voice, she stopped me. But at this rate, you're...
どうせもう聞かない。
That may be so, but certainly it was like she said. Most likely with the same medicine there wouldn't be any effect. But even knowing that, it was painful for me to sit still, unable to do anything. Then, well, let's go somewhere else.
別の場所。
Yeah, somewhere other than this lonely place. Okay, let's decide on our next destination. Come on, anything will do. Be the navigator again. I was speaking in a bright tone of voice that even I thought was laughable. Facing that profile, looking far away, I continued to speak cheerfully alone. I knew that doing this was useless. At most, how 2 days before the end would turn to 3. Even I knew it was on that level. Come on, say something. Someplace, isn't there?
別に。
I know. Don't you like cars? Want to go on the expressway again?
別に。
Then, well, let's go buy some new clothes. You want them, don't you? Setsumi.
別に。
Not particularly. You. Those final words, once again, the girl looked out the window. Not looking at the narcissus that spread before her, but like before, looking out somewhere far away. The pouting, embarrassed face she would sometimes show. She wouldn't show it to me anymore. Why are you like that? Always with just, not particularly. Just being a little bit forward-facing. What's wrong with that? Before I knew it, I raised my voice. For some reason, I was sad. And though I was supposed to be unable to have any real sense of reality, my heart ached. The interior of the car returned to silence. Outside the window were the flowers of January, daffodils, narcissus. In the dark before dawn, their whiteness gently swayed. Farther than the flowers, much, much further, the girl continued gazing. Only the faint sound of waves held sway in this place.
前向きになんてなれるわけないじゃないの。
Huh? Inside the dark car, suddenly she spoke up.
憧れて懸命になって頑張っていつか報われるのならいいけど、でも叶わなかった時にはどうすればいいの。その時に 無理だったねって笑って言えるほど強くないわよ。
That is tough. The girl who had eyes that always looked far away was looking straight at me from the passenger seat.
私にできることは最初から諦めて何も望まずにいて、やっぱり無理だったと冷めた目で自分を見ることしかできないのよ。
Your... For the first time, the girl cried. Even though she almost never showed any commotion, her small shoulders shook and her tears flowed.
あの時頑張っていたら、もしかしたらって自分にとっての最後の言い訳を取っておくしかないのよ。最初から無理だと分かっているんだから、それぐらいいいじゃないの。
He looked at the dark sky beyond the windshield. The sky before the dawn even showed the face of the moon. I can only hear the occasional sound of waves, the girl's sobbing voice. She might feel that she was the same as Echo, unable to return anything but the same words. From herself, she could say nothing, hope for nothing, see nothing. Could do nothing but give up. So for this girl, refusing both the 7th floor and her home was perhaps her first and last act of defiance. Shiraishi Construction, Chapter 8. Clear sea of January, cold wind that pierced the skin. Occasionally, a strong gust would sway the pine grove, and the sound of waves calmly reverberated. Well, there's nothing besides this here. Hand over the towel of Shiraishi Construction printed on it. It's what we used to wipe our bodies down with before. Hey, don't make such a face.
分かった。
Seemingly slightly dissatisfied, the girl took the towel. Suddenly saying she wanted a swimsuit, what could I do? This season, at this place, on top of that, she said she wanted a bikini. Doing what I could, I came out of the car when I searched was that white towel that had been in the pile of laundry. And then, waiting for a while, that skirt she liked, with the towel from just before wrapped around her chest, the girl appeared.
どう？
Well, even if you ask me that,
変じゃない。
well, probably. It's perfectly fine. Totally not strange at all. Setsumi. わかった. Then the girl slowly began walking out to the water's edge. Waves gathered and retreated, long hair fluttering in the cold sea breeze. From the sky, as if delivering the finishing blow, snow lightly fell. Within all that, the girl held both her shoes in both hands. Happily, as if she were splashing around, walking barefoot at the edge of the water.
ねえ、それっぽく見える？
Maybe so. Cold of midwinter, our breaths whitely misted. Then I took out the camera that I had taken from the car earlier. That cheap-looking disposable camera had only one more shot on it. Here, I'll take pictures of you. I'm sure it'd be more like it that way. As I spoke, I made a show of preparing the camera. Calm now, don't be so reserved, okay? The water's edge, the girl seen through the viewfinder. Maybe she was just a bit nervous, or perhaps embarrassed. Her face was more complicated than usual. So, could you give me a better pose?
でも
No buts. Look, there's no gravity model that would stand like a stake.
わかった。
Even while still seemingly a bit embarrassed, in her own way she tried her best. Shyly putting out her hand on her waist, threw her free hand out wide. A hand stretched out towards the clear winter sky, as if we're about to grasp something. We're trying to grab something. Stretched straight towards the sky with the emerald green sea to her back. Well then, one last thing. Setsumi. Smile.
Eh?
Smile for me. Setsumi.
何よ。年下のくせに。
Saying that, for the first time she smiled for me. The girl wearing the skirt she liked, with a white bikini. Oh yeah, there's tons of typos in this. Don't worry, man. Casserola, I get it. Just stay in the moment. Smile for the last shot on the disposable camera. Smile with the emerald green sea to her back. It was as if a gravity model were smiling at me. Great. Next, how about a pose with a bit more movement? Happily like she were having fun, she splashed through the water. The film had already been used up in the camera, but I still continued to take shots. Oh, you're getting caught up in this, aren't you?
そんなことないわよ。
Cheerfully we talked, as if making another attack the snow fell even harder. And that, through the viewfinder of the camera that had already run out of film, the girl showed a happy face. Even as her small body was thrown about by the wind, she directed her newly recalled smile towards me. It's already that time? With that answer, like before, the girl started walking towards the sea.
そういえば、免許証。
That's fine. Take it as a memento.
わかった。
While nodding, she put it in her pocket. It was a license that I had once handed to her. Really, it was something that should have already lost its debut. Then, the girl took off that white vinyl bracelet wrapped around her wrist and offered it to me. Are you giving this to me?
あげる。
I see. Then I'll take it as a memento myself. In the same way, I accepted the bracelet and placed it in my pocket. Then once again, the girl began walking towards the sea. Facing her back, I threw out my final words. Hey, can I ask you just one last question? Do you, right now, want me to pull you back? Or instead, you want me to give a push from behind? While the waves splashed at her feet, the girl stopped in place. Her back remained facing me after I asked the question. A strong wind turned the crests of the waves into spray that struck her. Before long, she turned around and...
さあ、どっちだろうね。よくわからないね。
Saying that just one more time, she smiled for me. While being struck by the spray from the waves, even as tears welled up, she faced me with a smile. Before, those feet had stopped at the water's edge. But this time, they didn't stop. That was why I thought that was her answer.
それじゃあ、さよなら。
And so our journey of 960 kilometers ended. To me, it was 15 days' time. To her, it was the end of a 22-year journey. Not the 7th floor, no harm. Of her own will, she avoided them. In the year 2005, she was one of the estimated 35,000 people who committed suicide. Blood type O, name Setsumi, 22 years old, female. Final identification bracelet white. This was everything about the girl. But I knew. In reality, she liked bikini swimsuits, knew more about the roads than a navigation system, and loved cars. She even had a license. She was always without expression, and would only rarely face you. Once in a while, she would even make this embarrassed pouting face. The emerald seat to her back. As if dancing, happily like a gravure model, she smiled. And despite that, on this cheap disposable camera, only a single picture remained of her smile. But even so, even with just one picture, it was the proof of ourselves that we left behind. That's Narcissu first. It's really good. Like, it's just, it's tough though. Like, it's a tough read. Like, you know, it's not. It's a very bittersweet. It's a very, very bittersweet moment.
眩しかった日のこと、そんな冬の日のこと。
Oh wow. There's a picture of the main character and Setsumi as well. Yeah, yo, it's meant to be emotional, okay? Oh man, I hope you guys enjoyed that. But yeah, I didn't remember everything of it, but it's certainly definitely tugged at my heartstrings. And that is the end of Narcissu first. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yes, so yep. Setsumi committed suicide. One of the 35,000 cases that do so, as they said at the end. At the time of when it came out, and you know, it's a serious thing. And terminal illness is also a serious thing to deal with, so, you know. That said, I'm gonna have to cut it off here. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves, to the best of your ability. It's animefanrk2k. You know, a little love from me to you guys. Stay strong, guys. Play a happier visual novel. Oh man, I apologize, Casserola. I was requested. This is gonna kill you. Oh man, yo, Fruit of Grisaya on Monday. That's why. That's why my YouTube Monday night live streams have the Fruit of Grisaya. With that said, don't think I'm not going to play happier ones. Yo, Katawa Shoujo's coming too. Don't worry. I will definitely start up at some point. Maybe like every other weekend or every other Saturday, Friday or something kind of thing. I'll start up probably Knuckle Paro too at some point. So don't think we're only gonna stick with the sad stuff, guys. We're gonna do the happy stuff too. But I just wanted another outlet to do more visual novels. So I'll be live streaming visual novels twice a week now, Mondays and Thursdays. And I'll also be doing my normal I'll doing normal Tuesday and Wednesday Twitch streams. So this is my first visual Thursdays, and I know that we're gonna be very heavy-handed for the first few with Narcissu first and second. So for now, like I said, guys, life is tough, knocks us down all the time, but even so, you know, a little love from animefanrk2k to you guys. You know, be a little bit happier, guys. I'll be here. Have a good night.